Chapter 1422. Sima Yuyue brought Shimenli back to Heartbreak Valley. The two of them did not return but went to look for Shimen Feng and told him that they were leaving. Shimen Feng had long guessed that with Sima Lu Xian and the others here, she would leave sooner or later. However, he didn't expect her to be in such a hurry to leave. She wanted to leave right after the battle. Do your master and the others know? I'll tell them after the battle, Sima Yuyue said. If he told Old Man Devil and the others, the disciples in the valley would definitely know. It would be bad if the morale of the army was shaken. The reason why he told Shimen Feng and Shimenli was because he was the younger brother and sister, so they had to be mentally prepared. That's good too. I hope you can heal your father's injury when you go back, Shimen Feng said. I hope so too. Everything in the inner region is much better, maybe we can find a way, Sima Yuyue said. I'm sure you can. You're our big sister. Shimenli held her arm and smiled. You have so much confidence in me. Sima Yuyue turned to look at her. She was more confident than her. Shimenli's face had already fully matured, and she was somewhat similar to herself back then. Looking at her, she would always think of her past life. Although she wanted to talk about her departure later, the news somehow got out. Everyone in the valley knew about it, and the more it spread, the more ridiculous it became, saying that she was going to abandon everyone. Therefore, many people came to ask her if it was true. Helplessly, she had no choice but to clarify that she was only leaving Valley to settle some matters. She was not leaving Paramount Valley. This place was still her roots and she would not give it up. Only after she said that did everyone relax and prepare for the battle. 10 Sunshine YS passed by in a flash. Old Man Devil and Ning Baichuan brought a group of people to Huayang Palace while Sima Yuyue and Shimen Feng went to the Zongjin clan. Back then, the Zongjin clan was the one who attacked the Shimen clan. Therefore, in order to kill their enemy, they had to destroy the Zongjin clan personally. The Zongjin clan was not very far from Heartbreak Valley. Through the teleportation formation, they arrived in less than a day. The people from Paramount Valley arrived outside the Zongjing residence and quickly surrounded the entire residence. The passers-by had long been frightened by the murderous aura and hid far away. With one look, it was obvious that they were here to cause trouble. These people seemed to be from Heartbreak Valley, right? Someone was hiding in the tea house, looking from afar and asked. What Heartbreak Valley? They formed a new force with Divine Devil Valley a few months ago, Paramount Valley. As a new force, why would Paramount Valley look for the Zongjin clan? From the looks of it, it doesn't seem to be anything good. Of course it's not a good thing, someone said. He's here for revenge. Revenge? What's going on? What? You guys don't know? That person said proudly. What's going on? Don't keep us in suspense. Quickly tell us. Heavens, you guys really don't know. Tell me, tell me. Do you guys know who the second Valley Lord of Paramount Valley is? That person thought that he was the only one who knew this information and was pleased with himself. Isn't it the masked man? Do you know who the masked man is? I don't know. They didn't even know this? That person rolled his eyes at everyone and said, that person is called Shimen Feng. How is it? Do you guys know now? Shimen Feng? Isn't that the eldest son of the Shimen clan that was exterminated a few decades ago? That's right, it's him. But didn't they say that he's already dead? At that time, he was even taken down to Heartbreak Valley. Heartbreak Valley. Everyone shouted. No wonder he built his force in Heartbreak Valley. So that's why. I didn't expect that not only did he not die, he actually made a comeback in a few decades and even took down the Zongjin clan's old nest. This isn't something that he can do alone. But no matter what, not many people can do what he did. Since he's here for revenge, then there's going to be a show to watch today. It's one thing to watch the show, but it's another to lose one's life. I think it's better for us to leave first. Some cowardly and weak people left, while some bold people who liked to join in the fun stayed. After Sima Yuyue and the rest surrounded the Zongjing clan, the door opened quickly and a group of people ran out. Sima Yuyue recognized at a glance that the leader was the Zongjing clan's head, Zongjing Liying. "Who are you? How dare you come to my Zongjing clan and behave atrociously?" Zongjing Liying saw a group of people outside and shouted in a deep voice. "Zongjing Liying, you came out personally to welcome us. Don't you know who we are?" Shimin Feng crossed his arms and looked at Zongjing Liying with ridicule. If he didn't know who they were and what was going on, would he need to come out personally as the head of the clan? He would have called the gatekeeper to deal with it. Zongjing Liying saw Shimin Feng and that familiar face and said, "Shimin Feng, it's really you. You're really not dead. How can I be dead when you're not dead?" Shimin Feng saw Zongjing Liying and the hatred in his heart gushed out. He was so angry that his body trembled. Sima Yuyue grabbed his arm and said, "Feng, don't worry. They won't be able to escape today." Shimin Feng nodded and became more clear-headed. Zongjing Liying saw that Shimin Feng's murderous aura had subsided after Sima Yuyue spoke a few sentences. He took another glance at her. "Shimin Feng, what do you want to do by bringing so many people here today?" An elder beside Zongjing Liying shouted. Paramount Valley's people looked at that person with a, "Are you stupid?" expression. Someone actually asked such a stupid question. No wonder the Zongjing clan went bankrupt in a few years. That year, your Zongjing clan took the opportunity of my eldest sister's birthday to poison us and slaughter my entire clan. Today, we'll make you pay with your blood. Shimin Feng gritted his teeth and said. "Ha ha ha," Zongjing Liying looked up and laughed, "with just you? You don't really think that you're stronger than us just because you destroyed our economy, do you? Humph. It was our mistake that we didn't kill you that year. Today, we'll correct this mistake and eliminate the root of the problem." Boom, just as Zongjing Liying finished speaking, there was a loud bang behind him. The Zongjing clan's door was silently destroyed. Little Seven and Me Air were sitting on the wall with two thunderbolt bombs in their hands. The power just now was the thunderbolt bomb that flew out from Little Seven's hand. Because there was no spiritual power fluctuation, no one noticed it. Chapter 14:23. You, why are you talking so much nonsense with them? Just blast them away. Little Seven tossed the thunderbolt bomb in her hand back and forth as she spoke impatiently. If you want to fight, just fight. Why do you always talk so much nonsense? When the Zongjing clan's people saw that their door was destroyed, they were all enraged. Arrogant brat. I want your life. One of the hot-tempered men shouted. His eyes widened as he charged towards Xiao Qi. Little Seven was getting impatient. When she saw the other party make a move, she leaped up from the wall and attacked that person. The moment the two of them made a move, it ignited the flames of war between both sides. The Zongjing clan's people flew out from their residences one by one. The people from both sides immediately started fighting. Shimin Feng's ability wasn't enough to fight with Zongjing Liying. When Zongjing Liying attacked, Bai Xing went over. Shimin Feng was fighting with an elder of the Zongjing clan. For a moment, half of the sky above the city was occupied by people and beasts. Sima Yuyue also summoned Beastie. As soon as they came out, they were all extremely agitated. They looked at the Zongjing clan's people with fierce eyes and their actions were not light. Others might not know Sima Yuyue's identity, but they knew it very well. It was because of the Zongjing family that Sima Yuyue had suffered so much. She had worked so hard all these years just for this day. Little Peng and the others still remembered that when she had ascended to the deity level, her soul had been restored, and her memories from her previous life had also been restored. At that time, she was on the verge of breaking down. If Wu Lingyu hadn't come over and helped her recover her emotions, who knew what would have happened? I can eat my fill this time. Hua Hua licked her lips. Flowers and vines filled the streets. Xiao Meng, on the other hand, used her spiritual power to attack. Everyone who was attacked by her became sluggish and their movements became sluggish. Ye Guang took the opportunity to attack. With the two of them working together, the speed at which they killed their enemies was not any slower than the others. Chongming's movements were much simpler and more violent. As long as it was someone weaker than him, he would directly use spatial blast, exploding them into a bloody flower. Hua Hua saw how wasteful Chongming was and shouted, "Chongming, can't you be a little more frugal? You've exploded into pieces, how do you expect me to eat?" Chongming faintly glanced at her and said, "I don't see you growing after eating so much. What a waste. You. Stop stuttering. If you don't hurry up and eat more, there will be corpses everywhere," Chongming reminded him. "Chongming, your wife is here," Hua Hua shouted and ran to deal with the enemy. Chongming was stunned for a moment. He thought that Hua Hua was refuting what he had just said, so he didn't look back. "Hubby, I missed you so much." Suddenly Rainbow's voice came from behind, startling him. However, before he could turn around, his body was hugged from behind. He turned his head and saw Rainbow's smiling face. "Hubby, did you miss me?" Rainbow giggled and said. Chongming saw that someone wanted to sneak attack him and Rainbow from behind. With a wave of his hand, that person exploded into pieces. He broke free from Rainbow's hand and turned to look at her and asked, "Why are you here?" "Not only me, the people from the clan are here too." Rainbow said, "We heard the news from the four-winged rock and rushed over. Luckily, we made it in time." Sima Yuyue was her sister and was also the contract master of the heavenly bird. She had even saved her uncle before. No matter how she looked at it, she couldn't be left out of her revenge. Thus, when she heard about this, she immediately rushed over. Chongming raised his head and saw a group of phoenixes rushing over. "This is a battlefield, be careful," Chongming warned. "I know." Rainbow's strength wasn't very strong, but she had many treasures on her. If she met someone stronger than her, she would throw all kinds of treasures over and the opponent would be overwhelmed. She was originally of the royal bloodline and had been modified by Qi Yen before. Thus, to their clan, she was the treasure of treasures. In order to ensure her safety, not only did they have all kinds of bodyguards, they even got many treasures for her to protect herself. Sima Yuyue was surprised to see Rainbow and the rest. She didn't expect them to come over and help. The Swan Ni clan's battle power was much stronger than the other Phoenix clans. In addition, the people that Lu Fei brought over were the strongest in the clan. Thus, once they joined in, the battle tilted even more. Boom, boom, the sound of the thunderbolt bombs exploding was heard one after another. Not long later, the entire Zhongzheng clan's house was blown into ruins. The collapsed house started to burn fiercely and the flames soared to the sky. Sima Yuyue looked at the burning flames. It was as if she saw the time when Shimen Feng was burned down and heard her mother's voice. "Child, you have to live on. Don't take revenge, as long as you're happy, father, mother," she murmured. Her heart ached and a drop of tear fell from the corner of her eye. Just as the tear fell, the person sleeping in Heartbreak Valley opened his eyes. His divine sense returned and his eyes became clearer. Yuyue, he sat up from the bed and observed for a while. He knew where he was. He got up and went out. The valley was quiet and not as lively as before. He walked for a while before he saw a few disciples. They were left in the valley because they were not strong enough. Those people knew Wu Lingyu and knew that he was sleeping in Sima Yoyue's courtyard. "Where's Yuyue?" Wu Lingyu asked. "They went to destroy the Zhongzheng clan and Yinyang Palace. Today? They've been gone for 2 days. Where did Yuyue go?" Zhongzheng clan. Before those people finished speaking, Wu Lingyu had opened the space tunnel and left. On the Zhongzheng clan's side, the battle was coming to an end. Just when everyone thought that the battle was about to end, the Zhongzheng clan suddenly released the light of advancement. Then, from a courtyard that was protected by a barrier and did not collapse, came the aura of a paragon. Old Ancestor. Old Ancestor has successfully advanced. Ha ha ha, Old Ancestor will definitely kill all of you. The Zhongzheng clan people shouted excitedly. Because of this aura, the battle between both sides stopped for a while. I didn't expect the Zongjing clan to have such a strong person. Shimin Feng returned to Sima Yoyue's side and said, "No matter what, it won't change the outcome of the Zongjing clan being destroyed." Sima Yoyue was not anxious. She looked at them and said. Soon, the light of advancement dissipated. The heavenly Tao protection also dissipated. An arrogant voice came from the courtyard. "I finally broke through. Ha ha ha. Today, I'll use your blood to celebrate for me." After saying that, a white figure came out from the courtyard and flew into the air. He looked at Sima Yoyue and Shimin Feng with eyes full of killing intent. Chapter 1424. The person who came was Zongjing clan's old ancestor, Zongjing Hongfeng. Please search to see the most complete. Update the fastest. Zongjing Liang saw Zongjing Hongfeng and said in surprise, "Old ancestor, you finally succeeded in advancing." Zongjing Hongfeng nodded slightly. Seeing those people, he frowned. He had only been in seclusion for a few years, and he had actually become like this. "Why do you want to exterminate my Zongjing clan?" "Of course, blood for blood." Shimin Feng coldly snorted. "Blood for blood? When did my Zongjing clan have a dispute with your Heartbreak Valley? If I remember correctly, you are just a newly established force. We have no dealings with each other." Zongjing Hongfeng said. "Old ancestor, he is Shimin Feng." Zongjing Liang reminded. "Shimin Feng?" Zongjing Hongfeng didn't react at first. Later, he remembered the Shimin clan that was destroyed. "He is a member of Shimin clan?" "Yes. He was the legitimate son of Shimin clan. The one who was forced to jump down Heartbreak Valley." Zongjing Liang said. "I can't believe you didn't eliminate the source of trouble back then." Zongjing Hongfeng glared at him. If he had killed him back then, would this have happened? Back then, he was already seriously injured and fell into Heartbreak Valley. Naturally, we thought that he would not survive. Zongjing Liang also regretted it, but who knew that Shimin Feng would survive after falling into Heartbreak Valley? Not only did he survive, but he also established a sect and gathered so much power in such a short period of time to take revenge on them. "Old man, do you still remember me?" Sima Yoyue asked. "You are?" Zongjing Hongfeng stared at Sima Yoyue with some doubts in his eyes. He didn't know her, but her tone didn't sound right, as if they knew each other. It seems that the old man is really forgetful. We even drank fruit wine together. You told me not to mind the grudges between the two families. Some things are beyond my control. Sima Yoyue sneered as she recalled the time when they had a drink. You are. Zongjing Hongfeng recalled that scene. The person who was drinking and chatting with him wasn't the girl in front of him. My surname is Sima Yoyue. Sima Yoyue said. No. You are not Sima Yoyue, you are Shimin Yoyue. Zheng Hongfeng said affirmatively. Yoyue? How is it possible? You, killed Sima Yoyue. She can't still be Yoyue, Yuz exclaimed. Yoyue, 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 Yoyue. Yoyue, Yoyue, Shi Yoyue, Yoyue, Yoyue. Yoyue, 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 Yoyue. You know. But, she is indeed only a few decades old. She can't be Shimin Yoyue's. Moreover, she came up from the lower continent. Zongjing Liang was very sure. When they first found out about Sima Yoyue, they even went out of their way to investigate her. They were very sure of it. You are Shimin Yoyue. Zongjing Hongfeng looked at Sima Yoyue and said. Sima Yoyue laughed when she saw them discussing her identity so enthusiastically. You have a good memory, old master. Are you really Shimin Yoyue? How is that possible? The people of the Shimin clan all cried out. What's impossible? Sima Yoyue sneered. Before I died, I said that I would definitely come back to take revenge on you. Now, I'm back to take revenge on you. Come back from the dead? How is that possible? What's impossible? Sima Yue looked at them coldly. Even the heavens couldn't stand what you did to my Shiman clan and allowed me to come back to life. I'm here to take revenge on you. I'll return what you did to us bit by bit. You really came back to life? Not only were the people of the Zongjing clan shocked, even the people of Paramount Valley were shocked. Sima Yue was Shiman Yue. This news was too shocking for them. Since there were people of the Shiman clan in Paramount Valley, they didn't deliberately hide what happened back then. Hence, everyone knew that the Zongjing clan exterminated the Shiman clan on Shiman Yue's birthday. When they first heard this, they lamented that Shiman Yue and Sima Yue had the same name. If Sima Yue was Shiman Yue, based on her character, who knew how guilty she would be? They didn't expect that they were really the same person. No wonder she hated the Zongjing clan so much. It was because they exterminated her clan. No wonder she worked so hard all these years. It was because she had a blood feud with them. All of this made sense now. At this moment, everyone wasn't shocked by her rebirth. Instead, they felt sorry for her from the bottom of their hearts. It turned out that she had suffered so much. When the bold onlookers heard this news, they were shocked beyond words. There was actually someone who came back to life in this world. Wasn't this too shocking? Sima Yue didn't want to reveal her identity. However, when facing her old enemies, she wanted them to know who was the one who came back to take revenge on them. She wanted to clear the name of the Shiman clan. Old dog Zongjing, you killed my entire clan back then. Today is the day you pay your debts. Shiman Li looked at them and shouted hatefully. Humph, you want to exterminate my Zongjing clan? You must be dreaming. Zongjing Hongfeng recovered from his shock and snorted coldly. He had used this time to sense his surroundings. He was sure that no one in Paramount Valley was stronger than him. In addition to the Zongjing clan's foundation, it wasn't difficult to counterattack and win. With the old ancestor here, there will be no problem today. Old ancestor, you must take revenge for the people who died in the clan. Don't worry. As long as we kill their leader, the rest will be easy. Zongjing Hongfeng said. Sima Yue's spirit beasts are very powerful. Only the old ancestor can deal with them. Don't worry. I won't let anyone from the Shiman clan go today. Zongjing Hongfeng looked at Sima Yue and said confidently. Who dares to touch my woman? Sima Yue heard this voice. Her eyes lit up and the corner of her mouth rose. Who? Zongjing Hongfeng was surprised. Someone could approach him without him noticing. Humph. A small Zongjing clan dares to be so arrogant here. Wu Lingyu's figure suddenly appeared beside Sima Yue. Everyone was shocked by his move. This strength, Zongjing Hongfeng frowned. When did Wu Lingyu become so powerful? I didn't expect it to be Your Highness the Holy Sun. Today is a matter between the Zongjing clan and Paramount Valley. Your Highness the Holy Sun won't interfere, right? This book came from Chapter 1425. The Zongjing clan used to rely on the Yin Yang Palace, and the Yin Yang Palace relied on the Sage Pavilion. Therefore, the Zongjing clan was also dependent on the Sage Pavilion. As the Holy Son of the Sage Pavilion, Wu Lingyu should be helping the Zongjing clan in theory. But when they saw him standing beside Sima Yue, the Zongjing clan lost their confidence. Now, they could only hope that he would not side with anyone. But Wu Lingyu did not retreat as he expected. Instead, he hugged Sima Yue's shoulder and said, You want to kill my woman, and I don't care? Aren't you being a little too optimistic? Zongjing Hongfeng's face darkened and said, Isn't Your Highness Holy Son afraid of being blamed by the sect? Hee, do you think that the sect will blame me because of you? You think too highly of yourselves. Wu Lingyu was merciless. He did not have his usual humble and kind attitude. Pfft, the people on this side all laughed. Wu Lingyu's words were merciless. Zongjing Hongfeng brought up the sect in an attempt to suppress him, but was directly denied by him. The Zongjing clan was just a force under them. In recent years, they had been so close to the mysterious force. They had long stopped relying on the Sage Pavilion. Their position was getting worse and worse. How could the Sage Pavilion punish Wu Lingyu because of them? This was a slap in the face. Your Highness Holy Son, moreover, if the sect knew that you had been working with the mysterious force, I'm afraid that I would have been ordered to bring people to eradicate you. You betrayed the sect first, and now you want to rely on the sect's protection. Do you really think that the people of the Sage Pavilion are fools? Wu Lingyu glanced at him. He looked like he was not a fool. Sima Yuyue could not help but laugh. Zongjing Hongfeng was speechless when faced with this accusation. Their cooperation with the mysterious force had always been a secret. How did Wu Lingyu know? If the Sage Pavilion knew about this, they probably wouldn't help them today. Lingyu, why are you here? Wu Lingyu asked. I woke up. Seeing that you weren't around, I came over. Wu Lingyu turned to look at Sima Yuyue, her eyes so gentle that it seemed as though water would drip from them. But, won't you be weak for a period of time after you wake up? This is a battlefield. Sima Yuyue looked at him disapprovingly. Don't worry, I won't do anything reckless. Although my strength hasn't recovered to its peak, it's more than enough to deal with a paragon. Wu Lingyu said confidently. Really? If not, I have other ways to deal with him. Sima Yuyue didn't put Zongjing Hongfeng in her eyes. In her previous life, she knew that Zongjing Hongfeng was on the verge of advancement. After a few decades, he might have already advanced. Since she dared to bring people here, she naturally considered this situation. Therefore, she had come prepared. When have I ever lied to you? Wu Lingyu said confidently, besides, aren't you a doctor? Sima Yuyue grabbed his hand and checked him. She found that his body was weaker than before, but as he said, it was no problem to deal with someone like Zongjing Hongfeng. You can only deal with this one. She let go of him and requested. Okay. She had so many people, he didn't need to take on all of them. Originally, she had a plan, and he didn't need to do anything. But he wanted to be involved in everything she did. At that time, he saw how much pain she was in. The contract made him feel her pain and regret. Therefore, his hatred towards them was just as strong. Let's end the hatred of the past today. From now on, you are only you, no longer burdened by the past. He muttered, and then attacked Zongjing Hongfeng. Zongjing Hongfeng had seen Wu Lingyu before, and knew that his strength wasn't particularly high. Although he was shocked by his previous move, he didn't think highly of him. However, what he didn't know was that Wu Lingyu's soul fusion had increased his light attribute strength by several levels. The strength of a supreme rank was no longer enough. When Wu Lingyu moved, the others followed, and the battle started again. The people of Zongjing clan thought that there was hope now that their ancestor had come out, so their morale was boosted. Unfortunately, this still couldn't change the fact that Paramount Valley was stronger than them. Therefore, the final outcome wasn't surprising. After Zongjing Hongfeng was split in half by Wu Lingyu, the other people of Zongjing clan were quickly killed. Even if they surrendered, Paramount Valley didn't care. The Zongjing clan would end up the same way as the Shimen clan. However, in the end, Sima Yoyue's heart softened. She really couldn't bear to kill those innocent women and children. Wu Lingyu had already returned to her side. Seeing the unwillingness in her eyes, he grabbed her hand and said to Shimen Feng, "If you don't remove the roots, there will be endless trouble. I'll take her away first." Shimen Feng glanced at them and nodded, "Okay. I'll keep an eye on this side." Wu Lingyu opened a passage and left with Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue struggled for a while, but still followed him in the end. Wu Lingyu was right. If they didn't remove the roots, there would be endless trouble in the future. She wasn't afraid of anything, but she had to consider for Shimen Feng and Paramount Valley. However, she couldn't just stand by and watch those innocent people get killed. She might as well leave. Wu Lingyu brought her to his little realm. When she was sad after recovering her memories, he brought her here. Now that she was here again, it felt like a lifetime ago. Sima Yuyue went to wash up. She washed away all the bloodstains on her body and washed away all the hatred of the past. When she appeared in front of Wu Lingyu again, the aura on her body was different. Wu Lingyu lay on the recliner that she used to lie on. Seeing the lovely person who was much more relaxed, he waved at her. Sima Yuyue went over. There were no other chairs, so she sat on the edge of the recliner. Suddenly, a hand reached out from behind her and pulled her down, causing her to lie down together with him. Sima Yuyue rested her head on Wu Lingyu's shoulder. She closed her eyes and said, "Don't talk. Let me lean on you for a while." Wu Lingyu put one hand on her head and the other on her waist. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her forehead gently, saying, "Rest. I'm here." The words, "I'm here," made her tear up. The tears that fell with the clothes on his shoulders. After so many years, they finally got their revenge. However, she wasn't as happy as she had expected. Because no matter what, her family would never come back. And she would never see her parents and relatives who loved her. She would never hear their doting calls. "Father, Mother, you, or Mrs. Yu." Chapter 1426. Sima Yuyue and Wu Lingyu stayed in the little realm for 2 days. When Wu Lingyu felt that the matters outside were almost settled, he brought Sima Yuyue out. At this moment, the Zhongzheng clan was only left with a pile of ruins and some flames were still burning. At first glance, it was similar to the time when the Shimen clan was destroyed. Shimen Feng and Bai Sheng were commanding those people to clean up the battlefield. When they saw Sima Yuyue and Wu Lingyu coming out, they flew over. "What's the situation now?" Sima Yuyue asked. "It's almost done." The Great Valley Lord side also sent news, saying that the battle over there has already ended. Huayang Palace has already been destroyed, and there weren't many casualties among the valley's disciples. They have already sent people to take over the businesses over there. Shimen Feng said. "Really?" Sima Yuyue felt relieved. "I knew it. As long as Master and the rest take action, we will definitely succeed. However, there's something. What's wrong?" Sima Yuyue was worried when she saw their hesitation. "It's about your identity. These 2 days, it has already spread. Many people know your identity." Shimen Feng said. Someone had actually been reborn. Such explosive news naturally spread very quickly. It was not enough to describe it as one person spreading it to 100 people. Therefore, many people knew her identity now, including the other disciples in the valley, including Sima Lu Xian and the others who were waiting in the valley. Sima Yuyue immediately thought of Sima Lu Xian and her heart sank. "I understand. Then do you want to go back first?" "The valley." Shimen Feng wanted to say something but stopped. Presumably, Sima Lu Xian and Sima Xiuqi also knew about this. He didn't know what they would think. Sima Yuyue was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, "I still have to explain this to them." There was no way to avoid it, so it was better to make things clear as soon as possible. As for whether they could accept it or not, that was not something she could control. Wu Lingyu held her hand and said, "No matter what, I'll be with you." "Yeah." Sima Yuyue smiled at him. She wasn't sure about Sima Lu Xian's reaction. Fortunately, he would stand by her side unconditionally. She and Wu Lingyu returned to the valley. When they were outside the valley, she was still a little nervous. She was afraid that she would encounter something she didn't want to see. Sima Yuyue and Shimen Yuyue had the same soul, which was why she could accept her so easily. Even Yin Lin said the same thing. But for Sima Lu Xian and the others, they might not be able to accept this. She sighed in her heart. Now that she was here, she didn't want to go back. "I think they will understand." Wu Lingyu held her hand, giving her the courage to face it directly. Sima Yuyue felt uneasy. "I've been with my father for so long. I don't want to see him disappointed." Grandpa and Grandma are so good to me, Don't be afraid. If they don't recognize you, then... Wu Lingyu didn't finish his sentence, which made Sima Yuyue turn to look at him. Then what should we do? Sima Yuyue asked. There's nothing we can do. They can't not recognize you, so we'll beat them up until they recognize you. If they were ordinary people, I have thousands of ways to deal with them. But they are your family, so those methods are useless. Wu Lingyu said helplessly. Hee. Sima Yuyue was amused by his expression, and her mood recovered a lot. She smiled and said, let's go. We have to face it eventually. The two of them flew towards the valley. When they reached the sect, they stopped and walked. When the disciples in the valley saw Sima Yuyue, they greeted her warmly. They didn't change much because she was reborn. If there was a change, it was that they looked at her with more enthusiasm. Reborn, how many people like her were there in this continent? One of them was their Vice Valley Lord. How awesome was that? Sima Yuyue nodded to those people as a response. Unknowingly, she walked to her courtyard. She took a deep breath and pushed open the courtyard door. Sure enough, she saw Sima Luxian sitting at the stone table in a daze. Sima Luxian saw Sima Yuyue coming back and waved at her. The way he looked at her didn't change, it was still full of love. Sima Yuyue walked over in a daze. You're back. Are you hurt? I'm fine. Sima Yuyue said, Father, that thing, do you know? You mean, you're reborn? Sima Luxian smiled and said, I knew about it long ago. You knew about it long ago? Sima Yuyue was stunned. Sima Luxian nodded and said, yes, a long time ago. Then, when? Sima Yuyue asked. When you were born. Sima Luxian recalled, after Yin Lin saved us father and daughter, he once told me alone that you have 2 lives. At first, your soul wasn't complete and you couldn't cultivate. You could only cultivate after your soul was complete. When I saw how powerful you were at Sunset Mountain, I already knew about it. But I can't cultivate because of poison, not because of my soul. Sima Yuyue didn't expect Yin Lin to tell him about it long ago. Thinking about it, he could tell her that before entering the immortal land. Naturally, he knew about it long ago. It wasn't strange for him to tell Sima Luxian. Sima Luxian looked at her tangled face and pulled her to sit beside him and said, it doesn't matter what the reason is. It doesn't matter who you were before. What matters is that you're my daughter. You're the product of your mother and me. That's enough. Did grandfather and the others know? I told them long ago, so they knew. Sima Luxian said, you don't have to worry about what will happen to them. Did grandfather and the others know about it at that time? Yes. I told them long ago so that they would know the truth. Would they believe such an incredible thing? I told them that Yin Lin said it, so they naturally believed it. Father. Sima Yuyue looked at Sima Luxian emotionally. She thought that she would face his accusations, disappointment, and anger when she came back. She didn't expect that it would make her extremely touched. Your father is right. Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying walked out of the house and looked at Sima Yuyue with a smile. We knew about this long ago. What we didn't know before was your previous identity and experience. But now we know. Huang Yingying walked over and hugged her, saying, my poor child, I didn't expect you to have experienced so many things in the past. Don't be too sad that your relatives are gone. You still have your grandfather and grandmother. Chapter 14:27. Sima Yuyue looked at them, tears welling up in her eyes. She tried hard not to cry, but she couldn't hold it in any longer, and her tears fell uncontrollably. How old are you? You're still crying. Huang Yingying wiped the tears off her face and smiled. How could I? Sima Yuyue was a little embarrassed and quickly wiped her face. Sima Luxian turned his gaze to Wu Lingyu. When he was first rescued, his consciousness was not clear. When he recovered, Wu Lingyu fell into a deep sleep again. When Wu Lingyu woke up just now, Sima Lu Xian and the others were not around, so the two sides did not meet. Therefore, this was the first time the two officially met. I heard about what happened to you. Sima Lu Xian spoke first. Although you are very outstanding, although Yuyue likes you and is willing to be with you. But I still hope that you will not bring danger to Yuyue. I will take care of my matters. Wu Lingyu said, I won't let her be in danger. I hope you can do what you say. Sima Lu Xian said, if you can't do it, if you put her in danger, I will not agree to hand her over to you. I will. Wu Lingyu didn't say much, he wouldn't exaggerate, but every word was as heavy as Mount Tai. Sima Yoyue's mouth twitched. Wasn't the change in style too fast? She was still touched just now, but in the next second, it became a father-in-law meeting his son-in-law. Both of them had a dignified look on their faces, which really didn't match her. She wasn't worried about the father-in-law meeting his son-in-law. During this period of time together, she had already understood Sima Lu Xian's temperament. As long as she liked it, he wouldn't say anything. So, he wouldn't make things difficult for Wu Lingyu, not to mention that he was so outstanding and doted on her. The only thing that worried them was probably his identity as a devil. With an enemy like the Devil King, things in the devil realm would definitely not go smoothly. It might even bring her danger. However, speaking of danger, he seemed to have quite a number of enemies. Especially that time in Fair Eastern City, he reckoned that he had formed a grudge with many forces of the Ghost Clan. He hoped that it wouldn't affect his ability to save his mother in the future. Alright, if you two want to talk about these things, go to the side. Yuyue just came back, let her have a good rest. Huang Yingning said. Grandma, I'm not tired. Sima Yuyue had rested in Wu Lingyu's little realm for a long time before she came back, so she did not feel tired at all. She looked at Wu Lingyu and said, Lingyu, you're experienced and knowledgeable. Look at father's situation. Is there any way to save him? All right. Let me check your body first, Wu Lingyu replied. Sima Lu Xian originally wanted to say that there was no need. His body had already been eaten to this extent, how could he recover? But seeing her eager gaze, he could not bear to refuse, so he stretched out his hand to let Wu Lingyu check him. Wu Lingyu checked Sima Lu Xian's situation himself, and listened to Sima Yuyue, so he had a general understanding of his situation. How is it, do you know of any way? Sima Yuyue asked. Uncle's meridians are all destroyed, so he can't cultivate now. Wu Lingyu said, if you want to recover, the only way is to reconstruct his body. Reconstruct his body? Actually, it's to reconstruct his meridians and spiritual sea. Wu Lingyu said. Then do you have a way? There is a way, but it will take some time to prepare the things. Wu Lingyu said. Is it hard to find? Sima Yuyue asked. One is very hard to find, the other is that I don't know if there is any now. What do you need? I need 2 divine medicines, Qing Yi and Little Seven's essence, the rest of the herbs are auxiliary. 2 divine medicines? Sima Xiu Qi and the rest exclaimed. 1 divine medicine was already priceless, not to mention 2 divine medicines. As for Qing Yi and Little Seven, it shouldn't be a problem if we ask them for help. Now it's up to those divine medicines. Sima Yuyue was shocked for a short while, but she quickly recovered and said, what are those 2 divine medicines? One is the one I mentioned to you before, Phoenix Nirvana. Wu Lingyu said, the other one is the fire rebirth of the hidden clan. Phoenix Nirvana and fire rebirth? Sima Yuyue remembered that when Wu Lingyu gave her the divine scar, he did mention the Phoenix Nirvana from the Sage Pavilion. But it was the first time she heard of the other divine medicine, fire rebirth. The last time I went to the Sage Pavilion, the Phoenix Nirvana had already grown a bud, I don't know if it has bloomed now. If it hasn't, we'll have to wait. Wu Lingyu directly told her the whereabouts of the Sage Pavilion's divine medicine. Then who has the fire rebirth? Sima Yuyue asked. The news that came that year was obtained by one of the hidden clans, but the hidden clans' matters rarely spread to the outside world, so no one knows where exactly it is. But this investigation can be done, it's just a little more effort. But the hidden clans are too strong. Even if they find the whereabouts of the divine medicine, it won't be easy to get it. The hidden clans were powerful. This could be seen from how the mysterious forces retreated when the Cloud Sea City's Xianqiu clan attacked. If they wanted to get the divine medicine from the hidden clans, it would be difficult to imagine. No matter how difficult it is, I will definitely get it. Sima Yuyue said, Lingyu, I need your help to take a look at the Phoenix Nirvana. I haven't gone back for a few decades. I don't know if it has bloomed now. When you guys return to the inner regions, I'll go back and take a look. Wu Lingyu said. The matters here are more or less settled. We'll wait for them to return and say goodbye to them before heading over. Sima Yuyue said. All right. Sima Xiuqi and the others wanted to take a look at the clan. They basically didn't return for so many years just to search for him. They didn't know what it would be like when they returned. All right, then we'll wait for them to return. A few days later, Shimen Feng, Liang Wuming and the others returned one after another. Sima Yuyue went to look for them after they returned and told them that she was leaving. Everyone fell silent. Although they knew that she was leaving, they didn't expect it to be so soon. They had just destroyed the Zongjing clan and Yinyang Palace, and she was going to the inner regions. Don't pull such a long face, it's not like I'm not coming back. Sima Yuyue smiled. I believe that you'll come back. But once you leave, we don't know when you'll come back. Xiao Jingzhong pulled a long face. Actually, we can expand our forces into the inner regions. Baixing said, on one hand, the resources in the inner regions are much better. On the other hand, if you encounter any problems in the inner regions, we can help you. Chapter 1428. That's a good suggestion. The others agreed. The resources in the inner regions are much better. If we can develop there, it will be beneficial for us in the future. I agree. We used to develop in the middle region. Now that our strength has increased a lot, we are qualified to develop in the inner region. I agree. I have no objections. Sima Yuyue pursed her lips. How did the topic change to this? Yuyue, what do you think? Liang Wuming looked at her and asked. I think that if it's for the future development of the sect, this is also possible. Sima Yuyue answered, if it's because of me and the sect doesn't need to do so, then forget it. If I go there, will I be at a disadvantage? Of course, the main reason is because of the development of the sect. However, you going there is also an opportunity. I think that's a good idea. We have the strength, so why can't we go? That's right. At this time, Lu Liangkai, who had been silent at the side, opened his mouth. Ever since the merger, he had been the head of the financial hall. It's not bad if we can go to the inner region in the future. However, we still have some difficulties. Lu Liangkai said. Liangkai, do you have any financial difficulties? That's right. Lu Liangkai nodded. I've been in the inner circle before, so I know a little about it. Although our fighting strength is comparable to the forces in the inner regions, we are much weaker in terms of economy. If we don't have any financial foundation, we won't be able to hold on. Instead, we'll be dragged down. Indeed. In the past, when we were in the Divine Devil Valley, we didn't manage it well. Although we didn't lack money, we weren't that rich. Well, although we have Liang Kai, the time is short. It's not a problem to launch a surprise attack, but if we have to fight a protracted battle, then we won't be able to hold on. Indeed. Sigh, if that's really the case, then we can only postpone this plan. Liang Wuming said, however, this can also be our next goal. How much do you need? Sima Yuyue asked. What? How much do you need to develop in the inner region? Sima Yuyue said, didn't you say that you can't meet the financial requirements? How much do you need? You need at least 3 medium-sized mineral veins. Lu Liangkai said, although we have mineral veins, but if we use them, if there's a problem, we won't be able to maintain our current expenses. We only need 3 ore veins. Sima Yuyue said, then we'll just have to find 3 ore veins. This or vein isn't something you can find just because you want to. Xiao Jingzhong said, although we have seeker spirit masters, we haven't been able to find a good or vein all these years. This kind of thing can only be found by chance. What if there are or veins? Sima Yu asked. If there are mineral veins, then we can prepare to go to the inner region after we settle the Yin Yang Palace and Zongjing clan's matters. Lu Liangkai said. Why, Yu, do you know where there are mineral veins? Old Man Devil guessed her thoughts just by looking at her expression. Yes. Sima Yu nodded. I happened to find one last time. Oh. How big is it? If it's bigger, although it's more risky, we can still give it a try. Lu Liangkai asked. No. Sima Yu shook her finger. Not just one. Are there two? Lu Liangkai was excited. If there are two, then there won't be much of a problem. No, there aren't two. Sima Yu saw that the usually calm Lu Liangkai was so excited and wanted to tease him, so she didn't finish her sentence. Not two. Then what is it? Is it a big one? Lu Liangkai asked. No. Also no? Then what is it? Lu Liangkai couldn't figure it out. Didn't she shake her finger just now? Then what did she mean? A large mineral vein. Sima Yu said. Everyone held their breaths. A large mineral vein. How much money would that be? And, before everyone could recover from their shock, she spoke again, scaring everyone back into their mouths. 5 to 6 medium-sized mineral veins, and, everyone was speechless. They couldn't breathe. They looked at Sima Yu with sparkling eyes. There are a few small-sized mineral veins left. I didn't pay much attention to them. When Sima Yu finally finished speaking, everyone was completely stunned. Even those old guys who were calmer before were dumbfounded. This was especially so for Lu Liangkai. Even when he encountered the incident at Fair Eastern City and was trapped inside, he was still calm and composed. But now, he was the most shocked and excited. He ran over from his seat and wanted to hug Sima Yu, but Wu Lingyu sent him flying with a slap. However, although Wu Lingyu's face was black, he still knew how to control his strength. Lu Liangkai wasn't injured and got up from the ground. But now that he was awake, he wouldn't do anything out of the ordinary, but he was still very excited. Vice Valley Lord, is what you said true? Are there really so many mineral veins? Where are they? With so many mineral veins, there should be a strong fluctuation of spiritual energy. How could no one discover it? Vice Valley Lord, are you sure it's true? At this moment, he was already speaking incoherently. The others also recovered from Wu Lingyu's move. The matter was too shocking, to the point that they started to doubt this matter. Yuyue, where are the mineral veins you're talking about? Has anyone already discovered it? Liang Wuming's breathing was a little hurried. If this news was true, then Paramount Valley would rise to another level. It's at Jade Snow Mountain. Sima Yu said, last time when I went to save Director Mao and the others, I used those mineral veins to escape. So this news is naturally true. Because the snow there is a little strange, it covered the aura of the mineral veins, so no one discovered it. We've heard a little about what happened at Jade Snow Mountain. If those people didn't die at that time, would the mineral veins have been discovered? Shimen Feng asked. No. Sima Yu said, wasn't Glacial Cloud Palace destroyed very quickly? Everyone's attention was on Sky Splitter, so this matter was overlooked. I sent my Scarlet Bees to guard there, but they didn't send back any news. She was very sure, and the others became excited. To Valley Lord, I request to immediately go there and check it out. Lu Liangkai said excitedly. If that's the case, then let's go take a look together. Liang Wuming said. TXT download address, mobile reading, book review. For the convenience of your next reading, you can add a bookmark at the top to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Fanbone would thanks you for your support. Chapter 1429. Lu Liang Kai didn't know how to search for spirits, so he wouldn't be of much use. When Liang Wuming said that, the others also wanted to go. If there were really so many mines, they would be excited just thinking about it. They had to go and take a look. Sima Yuyue looked at their eager eyes and said, "If that's the case, then let's go." "Where is Yushua Mountain?" "My grandpa knows. Let him bring us there," Sima Yuyue said. "Then I'll have to trouble your grandfather. Also, let's wait for me to refine the pills for my father before we go. The situation in the largest mine is already chaotic. My father will have a better idea," Sima Yuyue said. "How long will that take?" "One day will do. We're going there at this time tomorrow. And I want to talk to them too," Sima Yuyue said. "All right. We'll wait for you." Although they said they were waiting for her, none of the Paramount Valley's higher-ups stayed in their own rooms. Most of them came to Sima Yuyue's courtyard and waited for her to finish refining the pills before setting off. Fortunately, Sima Yuyue habitually set up a barrier around herself when she was refining pills, preventing others from entering her room. Otherwise, she did not know if she would be affected. Early the next morning, she finished refining the medicinal pills. When she opened the door, she realized that there was a courtyard full of people standing outside. "Vice Valley Lord, are you done?" "It's done." Sima Yuyue shook the jade bottle in her hand, which contained the pills for Sima Luxian. "Since it's done, can we leave now?" Lu Liang Kai asked urgently. Sima Yuyue smiled and nodded. "Sure. Then let's go quickly." Sima Xiuqi opened a spatial passage and brought everyone in. When they came out again, they were already in the winter plains. Because the distance was too far, and they had to pass through the obstacles in the middle and inner regions, there was a slight deviation in the exit, and they did not arrive at the mineral vein directly. Sima Yuyue sensed the location of the scarlet bees and flew over with everyone. In less than half a day, they arrived at the place where Mi air broke through the spatial seal. "There's no aura of the mineral vein here." "Yuyue, are you sure it's here?" Old Man Devil asked. They had been to the winter plains before, but they didn't find any mineral veins. Sima Yuyue looked at the vast snow region. It had been a few months since the last incident. The traces had been covered by the snow and the aura of the ore veins had been buried again. "It's here." Sima Yuyue as she said, "Master, you to break the snow to break the ground to break it." Old Man Devil condensed his spiritual energy and attacked the snowy ground below. The thick layer of snow flew everywhere, revealing the frozen ground below. And Sima Tuzes to Tuz to S Tuz to Stuz to S Tut. What a dense aura. That's right, with such a strong S aura, it must be a large mineral vein. Everyone was overjoyed. Since the mineral vein here was real, then the other mineral veins she mentioned before must be real too. So many mineral veins, their hearts were filled with excitement. But, there's something wrong with this mineral vein's aura. Paramount Valley's Seeker Spirit Masters were more accurate in sensing the mineral vein's aura. They immediately felt that the mineral vein's aura was very messy. During the meeting yesterday, not many Seeker Spirit Masters came, so they didn't hear Sima Yuyue say that the aura here was messy. Therefore, they didn't know that the mineral vein here had been used before. Mi air used the aura here to break through the spatial seal, so it's messy now. Sima Yuyue said, "But, as long as the aura is redirected, it'll be fine." "The already messy aura can be redirected?" The Seeker Spirit Masters said in surprise. "It might not be possible for the average person, but Yuyue's father definitely won't have a problem," Liang Wuming said. "Him?" Everyone's attention was on Sima Luxian. "Why, don't you know Sima family's Sima Luxian? He's a god in the hearts of many Seeker Spirit Masters." Old Man Devil said in surprise. "What? He's the genius of the Seeker Spirit world, Sima Luxian, whose strength is comparable to Third Mo's? Heavens! It's really him. The Vice Valley Lord's father is actually Master Luxian? With him, redirecting the aura back will definitely not be a problem." Sima Yuyue saw how excited they were and blinked doubtfully. Why, don't you know? Cough cough, because Master Lu Xian has disappeared for decades, so we didn't think about it at all. Alright, her father was indeed more low-key when he was in Paramount Valley. Other than knowing that he was Sima Yoyue's father, the people in the valley really didn't know much about him. In the past, Sima Lu Xian was always active in the inner region and rarely went outside. If they weren't seeker spirit masters, very few people knew about him. Father, look at the situation now, is it easy? Sima Yuyue asked. It's not a problem. Sima Lu Xian said, although it's more troublesome, with you and me heir, it's not a problem. In fact, as long as me heir was there, this wouldn't be a problem because he had absolute control over the aura. They had to go wherever he wanted them to go. Then I'll have to trouble you. Liang Wuming said to Sima Lu Xian. Valley Lord, you're welcome. Sima Lu Xian maintained a faint smile on his face, but other than facing Sima Yuyue and Sima Xiuqi, that smile didn't reach his eyes. Senior uncle, since father said it's not a problem, then I'll bring you to the other mineral veins. Then I'll let father open the aura together. It'll be more convenient for the people in the valley to mine later. Sima Yuyue said. Liang Wuming was silent for a while and said, forget about the other auras. There are seeker spirit masters in the valley too. When it's time to use them, let them open the aura. Sima Yuyue thought about it. This was also possible. With so many mineral veins, they definitely wouldn't be able to mine all of them immediately. Then they could do it later when it was needed. This way, father wouldn't be so tired. So, based on the distance and direction she walked underground, she drew a simple map and handed it to Liang Wuming. I did it when I was underground, so the distance and location might be a little off. Sima Yuyue said. What she didn't say was that she didn't find much at that time, only a few mineral veins. The rest were told to her by me heir later on, so she couldn't be sure of the specific location. Liang Wuming took the map and led the others to inspect it, leaving Sima Yuyue and the others here to deal with the mineral veins. Father, sorry to trouble you. Sima Yuyue said to Sima Lu Xian. Me heir, let's start. Sima Lu Xian nodded at me heir. Me heir jumped to the mountain peak in the middle. Chapter 1430. By title of book. Current location. Sima Lu Xian commanded the rest of the time. Me heir controlled the potential and guided it according to what he said. Soon, the originally chaotic potential returned to its previous trajectory. Sima Yuyue took a look. It took less than 2 hours. If it wasn't for me heir, they probably wouldn't have been able to do it in 2 days. When Liang Wuming and the others in the valley came back, they saw Sima Yuyue, Sima Lu Xian, Sima Xiuqi, Huang Yingying, Mu Si, and a group of beasts eating hot pot in front of 2 big pots. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. This was too leisurely. Senior uncle, you're finally back. Sima Yuyue raised her head. How is it? Have you verified everything? Are there any inaccurate ones? Apart from a few positions that are slightly off, everything else is fine. However, we also found those few after looking around the nearby mountains. Liang Wuming's voice was very excited. After confirming it with their own eyes, their hearts almost jumped out of their throats. That's good. Sima Yuyue said, by the way, Master, Uncle Masters, Hall Masters, would you like some too? There's no need. Since this side has already been confirmed, then we have to go back and prepare for the mining. Liang Wuming said. Don't worry, Martial Uncle. If we want to mine it, there's one more problem that needs to be solved. Sima Yuyue said. What is it? There are many spirit beasts in this Jade Snow Mountain. If we don't handle it well, it will hinder us. Sima Yuyue said, so, before we start mining, you have to discuss it with the spirit beasts. We won't interfere in this matter. All right. Sima Yuyue waved her hand and a few cauldrons appeared on the snowy ground. There were flames burning under each of the cauldrons and water boiling in the cauldrons. Beside the pot, there was a row of tables filled with various dishes. Master, martial uncles, hall masters, let's have a meal together. On a snowy day, eating hot pot around the stove and drinking a little wine was such a pleasant thing. You can also celebrate this matter. This is the hot pot sauce that I made myself while I was waiting for you guys. It's the only one of its kind. Sima Yue greeted everyone. Why do you have to treat everyone to a meal out of the blue? Old Man Devil walked over and sat beside her. After she said that, the others also found a place to sit down and imitated them to cook the meat and vegetables. Master, this is the farewell banquet I prepared for everyone. Sima Yue said, I have discussed with Dad and the rest. Since we are already in the inner region, we will not return to the valley. We will return to the Sima family directly. Therefore, after this meal, we will set off. I'll leave the matters of Yushua Mountain and the development of the inner regions to you. Everyone was stunned for a moment, but they quickly accepted this matter. She had already said that she was going to leave, and everyone was already mentally prepared. Since you've discovered these mineral veins, just leave the rest to us. We will try our best to expand into the inner regions as soon as possible. When the time comes, if you have any problems in the Sima family, don't hold it in. Don't forget that you still have us. Old Man Devil said. Thank you, Master. Sima Yue smiled gratefully at Old Man Devil. Your disciple will toast to you. The two of them drank a cup. Old Man Devil put down his cup and looked at Wu Lingyu, saying, You want to go too? Of course, wherever Yue is, I will be there. Wu Lingyu said proudly. A grown man can't be kept at home. It wasn't easy for you to wake up, but you didn't accompany this old man properly. Old Man Devil complained. Didn't you always come to see me when I was asleep? What's there to see now? Wu Lingyu said lightly, You ran away for tens of years, who else can you blame? Old Man Devil was speechless. He looked at Sima Yue with a wronged expression. Master, senior brother wants to return to the Sage Pavilion, so he wants to go with us. I'm not blaming you. Sima Yue explained. Return to the Sage Pavilion? You've been out for so long, why do you want to go back all of a sudden? Just now, he received a message from there asking him to go back. It should be because of the extermination of the Zhongzhen clan. Sima Yue guessed. Just as she was preparing the hot pot, Wu Lingyu received a message from the Sage Pavilion. He could use this to go back, otherwise, if he suddenly went back to the pavilion, it would cause others to guess. The Zhongzhen clan is also a power of the Sage Pavilion. The Sage Pavilion didn't know that they were in cahoots with a mysterious power. Seeing that Wu Lingyu was helping Sima Yue, they naturally wanted to ask him clearly. You want to bring Mu Si along too? Old Man Devil asked. Yes. Sima Yue looked at Mu Si, saying, We don't have a dark attribute spirit master in our valley. If he follows me, I can teach him well. But you have so many things to do yourself. This doesn't conflict at all. He usually cultivates by himself, I just need to give him some pointers occasionally. Sima Yue said, Master, isn't that how you treat senior brother? Don't even talk about me. After taking me in as a disciple, other than the first 2 days, you didn't teach me for a single day. But didn't I agree to let you follow Su Jin? That guy is good at alchemy. Old Man Devil said. You didn't teach him that. Sima Yue said, Speaking of this, Master Su Jin isn't here. Senior brother and senior sister are in the valley, so I'll need you to take care of them later. Don't worry about that. When she went to find Su Jin and Gulang, she would have to go back and call them. Everyone rarely ate hot pot, so after the meal, the guests were very happy. Sima Yue kept everything and bid farewell to Old Man Devil. Then, Sima Xiuqi opened a space tunnel and took them away. Liang Wuming watched them disappear, saying, All right, now you guys go back and send people over. We need to protect this place. The rest of you and I will deal with the spirit beasts. We need to get the real thing done as soon as possible. Lu Yangkai, go back and prepare to enter the inner region. Yes, Valley Lord. Thinking that Sima Yuyue went to the inner region, many people were excited to go there. They had to go in early to become Sima Yuyue's backing. Their Paramount Valley's treasure could not be bullied by others. After Sima Yuyue came out of the space tunnel, they didn't arrive at the Sima family's place, but at a city not far from the Winter Plains. Let's go find a teleportation array and go to a place with a spaceship. Spaceship? What's that? Sima Yuyue asked curiously. A spaceship is a ship that can travel through space. It has a strong defense and can protect the safety of the people on board. It can also build a tunnel in space to bring people to the other side. Sima Xiu-Qi explained. Isn't that similar to a teleportation array? Why do we need this kind of spaceship? Sima Yuyue didn't understand. Chapter content end, and underscore s equals point, and ip equals, and underscore s equals, gbk, and d equals, tanks smm underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 53968 and underscore s equals true, and underscore s // p/x m underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 53968 inch, and underscore h equals 0, and tanks underscore h underscore s tanks underscore h, and underscore s equals point, and ip equals, and underscore s equals gbk, and d equals, tanks smm underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 5398285, and underscore s equals true, and underscore s // p/x m underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 5398285 inch, and underscore h equals 0, and tanks underscore h underscore s tanks underscore h, and underscore s equals point, and ip equals, and underscore s equals gbk, and d equals, tanks smm underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 5398286, and underscore s equals true, and underscore s // p/x m underscore 1005796 underscore 1355616 underscore 5398286 inch, and underscore h equals 0, and tanks underscore h underscore s tanks underscore h. Remember after reading, for next time, or Transmigration Fan is dedicated to creating what girls love to see and providing them with the best. Chapter 1431. There are teleportation formations as well, but the inner area is too large. The teleportation formation's energy can't support too long a distance. For that kind of long-distance teleportation, the spatial passageways and teleportation arrays that we built ourselves are unable to support it, so we need a spatial ship. Sima Xiu-Qi explained. I see. There's a barrier around the spatial ship, which protects the ship from being squeezed by space while it travels through space, Wang Yingying added. However, the cost of constructing such a barrier is too high. Only a few superpowers have it. So even we can only sit in other people's cars. Really? I'm quite curious about this spatial ship. Sima Yuyue smiled and said, then let's take the spatial ship. Because Sima Xiu-Qi and the others had been here before, they knew where the spaceship was and how to get there. He brought Sima Yuyue to the largest city nearby and introduced her to the inner region along the way. At this moment, Sima Yuyue realized that the middle and outer regions, which she thought were big, were not as big as the inner region. The inner region was divided into 81 prefectures. The area of each prefecture could not be described with the word vast. Even the smallest prefecture was half the size of the outer region. When Sima Yuyue heard this, she widened her eyes in surprise. No wonder they had to use a spatial ship. With such a long distance, the teleportation array was useless. Even if there were some teleportation arrays that could be used to travel between different states, they would definitely be ridiculously expensive. Ordinary people would not be able to afford them. I didn't expect it to be so big. She sighed. These 81 states all had their own names, but later on, everyone got used to using their numbers instead. The 81 states were labeled from 1 to 81. It was said that this was not a random ranking. Instead, it was ranked according to the resources of each province. The smaller the number, the richer the resources of that province, and the stronger the overall strength of that province. Of course, this didn't mean that all forces were like this. There were also some states that had decent strength. Which state is the C family in? Sima Yue asked. 64th state. It was quite far back. Sima Yue muttered to herself. We used to be a great clan, but we gradually declined and were pushed aside by the other forces. We had no choice but to move out. Sima Xiuqi said, because it was once glorious, the later generations all hoped to go back. Sima Yue recalled the elders she saw outside Fair Eastern City. They all said that she was the hope for the revival of the family. They probably wanted her to bring them back. Because of Sima Lu Xian's talent in spirit seeking, they had always regarded him as the most promising person to lead everyone back, but they didn't expect such a thing to happen in the end. In the eyes of others, he had already died early. Therefore, when they were in the immortal land, the Sima family was eager to obtain the divine equipment and inheritance. However, their hopes were dashed and they could only place their hopes on Sima Yue. Sima Yue was speechless. When she was outside, she saw how respectful people were to the Sima family. She thought that they were a powerful force in the inner region. She did not expect them to be a fallen family. As for the people outside, they knew that there were very few factions in the inner regions. That was because the truly powerful ones didn't bother to go outside. Sigh, it felt like another pit. And she seemed to have jumped into the pit. Hopefully, it wasn't a huge pit. Along the way, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying told her some news about the inner region. The more she knew, the more she felt that there was no end to it. Sigh. For example, the Sima family that she knew to be very powerful was actually not very powerful in the inner region. For example, there were some very powerful families. She was the only super force in the entire state. Their strength could be imagined. However, this was only the 49th state. There were still many super forces in the other states. But in their words, the super force in the 49th state was definitely comparable to the forces in the top 10 states. It was just that they were unwilling to move, so they occupied the 49th state. Sigh. She sighed in her heart. Even if Paramount Valley's forces expand to the inner region, I think they can only go to the state at the tail of the number. It was not easy for her to feel that she was a powerful person. She felt that she had become a leader. She did not expect to become a tail here. However, she also secretly made up her mind that she had to carve out a place for herself in this treacherous inner circle. After traveling for 2 days, they finally arrived at their destination, Tangerine City. Tangerine City. Could it be that the city lord here likes to eat tangerines? Sima Yue looked at the 3 words Tangerine City on the city wall and laughed as she teased. How did you know? Sima Xiuqi said in surprise. This city was not called Tangerine City in the past. It was because the current city lord likes to eat tangerine spirit fruits that he changed the name to Tangerine City. Sima Yue was speechless. She was just guessing. She did not expect it to be true. Just because he liked to eat tangerines, he changed the name of the city that had been there for thousands of years. This city lord was really willful. I heard that this city lord came from somewhere and made a bet with the previous city lord. He won and became the city lord here. After he became the city lord, he asked people to look for tangerines everywhere for him. He ate all the tangerines nearby. Sima Xiuqi said what he heard the last time he came. He ate them all? Are the others willing? Sima Yue said in surprise. Besides, He is a city lord who came out of nowhere. How can those people listen to him when he orders them? They listen to him. Sima Shiochi did not think about this. I heard that there was someone who made trouble before, but I don't know what he did after that. The entire Tangerine City is obedient to him. He is a talent. Sima Yue sighed. He is just a troublemaker. Wu Lingyu saw that Sima Yue was so interested in that person and snorted coldly. Pfft! Sima Yue laughed and grabbed his hand. Don't say it like you are old. Your body is only 300 years old. I am younger than him. Just look at me. Wu Lingyu said overbearingly. He was really climbing up the ladder. Yue, the Sage Pavilion and the Sima family are in the opposite direction, so we have to separate here. Even if I am not by your side, you can only have me in your eyes and in your heart. Do you understand? Wu Lingyu grabbed her hand and poked her heart with his slender fingers, declaring his sovereignty. Sima Yue slapped his hand away and said, When did I have someone else in my eyes and in my heart? If you are so overbearing, I am going to find someone else. You dare. Wu Lingyu reached out and pinched her face. If it were not for her parents, he would have kissed her. Chapter 1432. Cough, cough. Sima Shiochi coughed twice to remind them that this was a public place. Stop fooling around. Sima Yue slapped his hand away. How long will you be gone? I'll go back and take a look at the situation of the Phoenix's Nirvana. Then, I'll send someone to investigate which hidden clan has rising from the ashes. After that, I'll go back. It shouldn't take long, Wu Lingyu said. What about the demons? There's nothing going on over there for the time being. I don't need to go over. Wu Lingyu said, Wait for me. I'll be there soon. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. Then let's go in. Sima Shiochi didn't like Wu Lingyu sticking to his granddaughter, so he reminded her. Sima Yue glared at Wu Lingyu. It was his fault for not caring about the occasion. They came to the city gate and paid the entrance fee. 2 high-grade crystals per person. The entrance fee was not low at all. When Sima Shiochi went to pay the entrance fee, Sima Yue was observing from the side. She saw a sign on the side that said, Entrance fee, 2 pieces of top-grade crystal stones per person, or 50 kilograms of tangerine. PFFF, she laughed out loud, attracting many angry gazes. Ahem. She calmed herself down and said, You can use oranges to pay for the entrance fee? Of course, it's written clearly on it. 50 kilograms per person? That's right. If it was a top-grade item, the weight could be reduced appropriately. But if it's of a lower grade, it's not allowed. It's really worth it. Sima Yue said, Grandpa, let's not use the crystals, let's use the oranges. 50 kilograms of tangerines can be worth 2 top-grade crystals. What a bargain. Where do we get oranges? Sima Yue willed and baskets of oranges appeared in front of everyone. Take a look, what do you think of this? She said to the guard who was collecting the entrance fee. A steward walked over. After following the city lord for so many years, he had seen a lot of oranges. When the oranges were placed in front of him, he could immediately tell whether they were good or bad. Where did these oranges come from? He looked at Sima Yue excitedly. With such a rich fragrance, such a beautiful color, and such a smooth skin, he could tell at a glance that this was definitely the best of the best. At least, he had never seen such good oranges before. I bought it before. What do you think? Is this enough to cover our entrance fee? Sima Yue made up a random excuse. Enough. That's enough. The steward nodded. There were at least a few hundred to 1,000 kilograms of high-quality oranges here. With these, would he still be afraid that he wouldn't be able to report to the city lord this month? That's good. Then please give us the pass. Give it to them quickly. The steward waved his hand at the people who were handling the matter. His eyes were glued to the oranges and did not move away. The staff at the side gave each of them a pass. Sima Yue and the rest took the passes and were about to enter the city. Not long after they entered the city, the steward caught up with them again. Miss! Sima Yue stopped in her tracks and turned back to look at him, saying, "Steward, what's the matter?" The steward cupped his hands at her, saying, "Miss, I wonder if you still have those oranges? The city lord is willing to pay a high price for them." Sima Yue saw that he was panting and it was obvious that he had chased after them all the way here. In other people's territory, it was good to form a good relationship with them. Moreover, there were many oranges in the spirit pagoda, so it was fine to give some to him. However, she did not want others to think that she was too attentive and had other thoughts, so she asked, "Actually, we don't lack these things, but since we are in Tangerine City and your city lord likes oranges so much, then we will give him some face and sell some to you. I wonder what price you are willing to pay. 3 pieces of high-quality crystals for 100 kilograms, how about that?" The steward asked tentatively. In the past, there were people who had oranges and spirit fruits who raised the price, so he did not offer a high price just to bargain with her. However, he did not expect Sima Yue to agree so quickly. "All right. How much do you want?" Her question stunned the steward. How arrogant was that? 1,000 kilograms, I wonder if you have it? The steward asked tentatively. Sima Yue was silent for a moment, thinking that this city lord was indeed crazy about oranges, casually giving out a few thousand high-quality crystals. Yes. Sima Yue waved her hand, and 10 baskets of oranges appeared in front of the steward. When the steward saw the 10 baskets of oranges, his eyes lit up, and he hurriedly took out 3,000 high-quality crystals and gave them to Sima Yue, then kept the oranges. He was in a good mood today, and Sima Yue was even more pleasing to the eye, so he asked, "Why did you come to Tangerine City?" "Oh, we are here to take a spatial ship." Sima Yue explained. "Spatial ship? Which direction are you going?" 64th state. "Then there is no spatial ship for you to use today." The steward kindly reminded them. "Why is that?" Sima Yue asked. "There are not enough spatial ships now, so the next spatial ship will only arrive here in 2 days." The steward said, "If you want to take a spatial ship, you will have to wait for 2 days." "Then what about the one going to the 35th state?" "That is fast, there is a spatial ship coming today. If you miss today's ship, you will have to wait for half a month." The steward said. "Half a month?" Sima Yue glanced at Wu Lingyu, feeling a little down. The news from the Sage Pavilion was rather urgent. If they waited for 15 days, and with the delay on the road, Wu Lingyu would definitely be scolded when he returned to the Sage Pavilion. "Why don't you go first? We will leave in 2 days anyway," Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu thought for a moment, then said, "Then I will go and return early." "All right." Sima Yue nodded lightly, "Then I will wait for you." Although she was reluctant, she still hoped that he would go to the Sage Pavilion earlier to find out about the divine medicine, Phoenix Nirvana. "There is still some distance to the spatial platform here, why don't my people send you there?" "No need, we have been here before, so we are not unfamiliar with it," Sima Xiuqi said. "That's right, steward, you must have other things to do, we will not disturb you," Sima Yue said politely. "All right. Goodbye then." The steward had a treasure and wanted to go back to claim credit, so he did not stay any longer and left with the things. Sima Yue saw his anxious look and could roughly guess the city lord's character. If she guessed correctly, she might be able to see the city lord one more time before leaving this place. Behind, Sima Yue and the rest sent off Wu Lingyu, then found an inn to stay in. There were still 2 days left, and they were not willing to wait up there. Just as she thought, before she left, she did see the rumored city lord, Lang Zhong. Chapter 1433. On this day, Sima Yue was talking to Sima Lu Xian in the house when the servant knocked on the door and said that the city lord was here. He really came. Mu Si was slightly surprised. "Master, how did you know he would come to find you?" The fact that he changed the name of the city to Tangerine City means that his love for oranges has reached the peak. That steward brought back so many high-grade oranges, he will definitely ask about the source. Sima Yue said, someone who likes oranges so much will definitely come looking for me when he sees me taking out so many oranges. Master, did you do it on purpose? Mu Si asked. I didn't do it on purpose, but I guessed it when I was selling those 500 kilograms of oranges. Sima Yue smiled and said, I also want to see what a casual person is like. To be able to subdue the entire city, this person must not be a simple person. Then you can leave. No matter what, he is still the city lord here. Don't let him wait too long. Huang Yingning said. Okay, Grandma. Sima Yue went downstairs and saw that there were no guests in the lobby. A man wearing a long gown was leaning on a luxurious chair. This chair wasn't there before, so it was obvious that the person had brought it here himself. The man turned around when he heard the commotion on the stairs. Sima Yue was stunned when she saw his devilish face. Beautiful as a crown of jade, devastatingly beautiful. Although she was used to Wu Lingyu's handsome face, when she saw Lang Zhong's appearance and the unrestrained look in his eyes, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. I didn't expect that such a young girl like you would have such delicious oranges. I thought it was an old woman full of wrinkles. Lang Zhong opened his mouth, his voice was lazy and blurred. I didn't expect that the carefree Tangerine City Lord would be so voluptuous. Sima Yue recovered from her momentary daze and walked down the stairs. She came to Lang Zhong and bowed slightly. Is there anything I can help you with, City Lord Lang? Lang Zhong nestled in the chair and looked at Sima Yue's clear eyes. Other than being a little dazed at the first glance, she had always looked at him calmly. There were very few women who could look at him like this, which made him feel very comfortable. Did you sell the oranges? He asked. Yes. I heard that City Lord Lang likes oranges. Since I have some, I'll sell some to you. Speaking of which, City Lord Lang's price is really not bad. Yue, thank you. When Sima Yue thought of the 3,000 top-grade crystals she had earned, she was very happy and her smile became brighter. Lang Zhong looked at her smile and was slightly absent-minded. It was, really beautiful. He had seen many beautiful women, but she was the first one who could make him feel so comfortable. City Lord Lang, are you here to see what the person who sells oranges looks like? Sima Yue asked. No, I'm here to buy oranges. Lang Zhong said, but that was my previous purpose. What's the purpose now? Sima Yue asked. The purpose now. Lang Zhong smiled at her. Now, I want you to be my woman. What? Sima Yue was stunned, his guards were stunned, and even the people in the room upstairs were stunned. Let her be his woman? Didn't their master not like women? He also said that women were all fake and his eyes hurt just by looking at them. But why did he say such a thing to this woman who only took a glance at him? Sima Yue was speechless and reminded him, City Lord Lang, are you joking? This is the first time we've met. It doesn't matter how many times we've met, what matters is fate. Lang Zhong stood up from the chair, came to her, and bowed slightly. The two of us are fated. Even if it's the first time we meet, it's like we've met thousands of times. Sima Yue's mouth twitched and said, City Lord Lang, can I interpret this as love at first sight? Whether it's love at first sight or not, I'm not sure about this. What I can be sure of is that I have feelings for you. So, I want you to be my woman. Lang Zhong said domineeringly. Sima Yue rolled her eyes in her heart. What an overbearing and willful person. If it was an ordinary person, being confessed to by such a handsome and powerful person like him, they would definitely be overjoyed. However, she was not in this range. I'm really sorry, I already have a sweetheart. She smiled and refused. Lang Zhong didn't expect her to refuse him. Is he more handsome than me? In my eyes, he is the most handsome. Sima Yue said. Is he an ugly monster? No, he's very good looking. It's just that I don't use looks as a standard to judge a person. Sima Yuyue said, so, it's not that you're not as good looking as him that I rejected you. Then why? I said, I have someone I like in my heart. Sima Yuyue said, I like him, no matter how good others are, I will not change my mind. But don't people change? If you can like him, you can also like me. Lang Zhong said. Sima Yuyue looked at his serious face and thought to herself, is this person's EQ too low? People like him who have such thoughts probably don't know what love is. If you like someone, you won't change your mind just because there are other outstanding people. If so, then it's not true love. Sima Yuyue said. True love? What is that? It's an involuntary feeling, just like when you like to eat oranges, you will feel happy when you think about it. However, I don't think you will understand it now. Sima Yuyue said. Why? Because you haven't felt this way before. Sima Yuyue said, when you meet someone you really like in the future, you will understand. Someone I really like? Lang Zhong's eyes were full of doubts. Has he ever really liked someone in his heart? City Lord Lang, if you want to buy oranges, we can discuss it. If it's something else, then please go back. Hiss, the shopkeeper and the waiter both took a deep breath when they heard her talking to Lang Zhong like this. The person who used to talk to him like this didn't seem to have appeared in the city. However, Lang Zhong was not angry this time. He put away his doubts and said, how much do you have? How much do you want? If you have 10,000, I can add another piece to the price. Okay. Deal. Sima Yuyue waved her hand and 100 baskets of oranges appeared in the lobby. That's all I have. If you want more, I don't have any more. She said. This is the crystal stone. Lang Zhong gave her a crystal card, then put away the oranges, turned around and left with his people. But when he left the inn, he looked back at Sima Yuyue who had turned around and went upstairs. No one knew what he was thinking. Reading background default settings: classic light blue, classic light gray, classic green, classic bright yellow, dark blue, ocean, autumn green, elegant red, powder, family red, talk, thick, sea, wide, sky, heartbroken, past, snow white, world, gray, world, font color default settings: white, red, green, blue, brown, font size default settings: small, medium, large, speed 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0, mouse scroll description 1 to 10. 1 is the slowest, 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1434. When Sima Yuyue returned to the room, Mu Si immediately asked, Master, I heard from the shopkeeper that the city lord has a bad temper. If you reject him like this, will there be any problems? Do you want me to agree to his request? Sima Yuyue asked. No. Mu Si shouted anxiously. That's it. Whether he's angry or not, our answer is the same. Sima Yuyue said, if that's the case, why should we care so much? Sometimes, there are some things that you just have to do, understand? Mu Si thought for a while and then nodded. There were some things that could be done, but there were some that could never be done. Once done, there would be no turning back, and the consequences were not something he could bear. She had just said that if she liked someone, she wouldn't change her mind just because someone else appeared. She only liked Wu Lingyu. That's right. There are some things that should be resolved. Since you're going to leave, you don't have to worry so much. Sima Xiuqi said, even if we offend them because of this, we can just not sit here. I think Lang Zhong should not embarrass us. Sima Yuyue said, he doesn't look like the kind of person who would do anything evil. If he wanted to deal with me because of this, he would have done it on the spot. Since that's the case, it should be fine. The spaceship will arrive early tomorrow morning. When we leave this place, there will be nothing left. Huang Yingying said. Yes. On the morning of the second day, they arrived at the platform where the spatial ship appeared. Sima Yuyue sized it up. A huge platform was situated on a vast plain. The platform was surrounded by pillars, each of them towering into the clouds. Those are energy pillars. When the spaceship is about to come out, it needs to rely on these energy pillars to maintain the stability of the space so that the spaceship can safely land on the platform. Sima Lu Xian saw that she was so curious about the pillars and explained. Is the exit unstable? Sima Yue asked. The formation and the spatial passage are maintained by power, but the spatial ship doesn't. In order to travel through space from the void, one must have these energy pillars. I see. Sima Yue looked at the energy pillars. It seems like the most important thing about this spatial ship is these energy pillars. I didn't expect that as soon as you came into contact with this, you would know that it is the most important. Lang Zhong's voice came from behind, scaring the people in front of him. Sima Yue turned around, saw Lang Zhong, and said, "Why are you here?" The person who spoke behind her was Lang Zhong. He smiled at her and said, "I heard that you are going to take the spaceship this time, so I came." Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying looked at him vigilantly, afraid that he was here to cause trouble. "So, you're here for us? What's the matter?" Sima Yue paused and said, "I don't have any more oranges." She had already taken out more than 5,000 kilograms of oranges. If she took out more, she was afraid that it would arouse suspicion. "No, I'm not here to buy oranges from you this time," Lang Zhong denied. "Then what are you doing here?" "I'm here to find you." Sima Yue pursed her lips. Looking for her? What was his purpose? However, before she could think of anything, she heard Lang Zhong continue to say, "What you said yesterday, I went back and thought about it carefully. I really don't know what kind of liking you are talking about, so I've decided, I want to follow you." "What?" Sima Yue looked at him and felt that she was having an auditory hallucination. This guy isn't here to be funny, right? Follow me? Why? Aren't you afraid that I will sell you out? Or that I have other purposes? Other purposes? Yes. Sima Yue looked at him. "You see, you like to eat oranges so much. Why do I just happen to have so many oranges? Isn't this very suspicious? We've only met once and you already want to follow me. Isn't this a bit too strange? If I'm deliberately here to attract your attention, wouldn't you fall into a trap?" Sima Yue did not wait for him to speak and continued, "So, you should stay vigilant and stay away from me." Lang Zhong looked at Sima Yue, and after listening to her words, he was stunned. Then he laughed loudly, causing passers-by to stop and watch. "What are you laughing at?" Sima Yue glared at him. "Hee, you are really cute, Sima Yue." He said her name, and this time it was their turn to be surprised. She only said her name yesterday and did not say her surname. How did he know? They didn't say their names when they stayed in the inn. "How do you know my name?" Sima Yue asked. "You are so famous in the middle region, naturally I would know after asking." Lang Zhong said, "You just came from the middle region to the inner region. Tell me, what special purpose can you have for me?" Sima Yue was speechless. She didn't expect this guy to know about her so quickly. She looked at him and was a little curious about his identity. The first time she came to the inner region, he actually got news about her in just one day. This was not something that an ordinary city lord could do. Thinking of what Sima Xiuqi said, no matter who came to trouble him, they were all destroyed in the end. It seemed that this city lord who came out of nowhere had other forces behind him. Seeing his smug face, she snorted coldly and said, "You actually investigated me. Then have you found out that I hate people like this the most? City Lord Lang, see you never." After Sima Yue finished speaking, she no longer paid attention to him and turned to walk towards the waiting area. At this time, there was a rumbling sound in the space, accompanied by a strong vibration. At the same time, all the energy pillars around the platform lit up, emitting a dazzling light that made everyone unable to open their eyes. Sima Yue and the others also subconsciously closed their eyes. When the light dissipated, a ship dozens of meters high and more than 300 meters long appeared on the platform. "This is the space ship." Sima Yue looked at the ship and was pleasantly surprised. If this was just a ship sailing in the water, then she wouldn't feel anything, but this was a ship shuttling in the void. It was just very difficult to control it. We will only stay for half an hour, prepare the crystal stones and line up to board the ship. A woman in white with a white hair band appeared on the deck, looking at the people below with indifferent eyes. Sima Yue walked with the others. When it was their turn, Sima Xiuqi handed over the crystal stones for 5 people. After Sima Yue got on the ship and asked, she found out that each person cost 5,000 top-grade crystal stones. The 5 of them spent 25,000 top-grade crystal stones. It seemed that this spaceship was really not something that ordinary people could sit on. In the inner region, crystal stones were really worthless. It turned out that the price Lang Zhong bought the tangerine was really not high. It was only because she was ignorant that she thought it was high. Chapter 1435. Title: Chapter Being Hated by People. Author: Everyone was given a room card when they boarded the ship. Only by swiping the card on the door could the door be opened. Because some people had been sitting on the spatial ship for too long, they would choose to cultivate on the ship. If the door was easily opened, they would be disturbed. When Sima Yue heard Huang Yingying's explanation, she was extremely surprised. The design of this spaceship was really amazing. She didn't know who invented it. The construction of this spaceship must have cost a lot, right? In that case, the price was not considered expensive. However, this ship isn't very long. How many people can it accommodate? She remembered that this ship was only slightly longer than the Titanic in her previous life. Back then, the Titanic did not have a room for one person and could only accommodate about 1,000 people. Now that it had a room for one person, the number of people should be reduced by half. You guessed wrong. Huang Yingying smiled and said, this kind of medium-sized spaceship can accommodate 8 to 10,000 people. So many? Sima Yue gasped in surprise and immediately reacted. Is there a space container in the room? Yes. Although it looked like the door was next to the door on the outside, there was an independent space inside. Therefore, there were more rooms. Moreover, the fees varied according to the distance. We're not too far away, so it's only 5,000 yuan. If it's further away, it might cost 30,000 to 40,000 yuan or even more. This was a high-grade crystal. Not cabbages from the streets. What a bunch of rich people. She couldn't help but mutter. Once in a while is fine. No one would sit around all day for no reason. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. She could accept it if it was a little more expensive. Moreover, the production cost of this spaceship was not low, and the consumption of each trip was not low either. As the saying goes, wool comes from sheep, and these would definitely be paid by the passengers. The owner of this spatial ship must be very rich. She faintly sighed. If you like it, I can also give you one. Lang Zhong appeared out of nowhere, scaring someone who was sighing. Sima Yue looked at Lang Zhong's enchanting face and wondered how strong this guy was. Her perception was much higher than others, so even if someone was stronger than her, she could still sense it in advance. However, every time Lang Zhong appeared, he was always silent. If he wanted to attack her, she might not be able to avoid it. She bit her lips. She was really like a drop in the ocean here. It seemed that she had to increase her strength as soon as possible. What are you thinking? Is my suggestion good? Lang Zhong saw that she was looking at him absent-mindedly and waved his hand in front of her eyes. Not good. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Although this spatial ship is going to stop at Tangerine City, the ownership right doesn't belong to you, right? What right do you have to give it to me? Besides, if I like it, I'll make one myself. I don't need you to give it to me. Poochie, a sneer came from the side, followed by a mocking voice. What an ignorant country bumpkin. Do you think you can build a spatial ship just because you want to? If you don't have a brain, then don't come out and make a fool of yourself. Sima Yue turned her head and saw a woman in a pink dress standing not far away from her. She had a standard oval face, extremely delicate facial features, 2 strands of hair hanging on both sides, looking very charming. Her curvy figure made people want to commit a crime. However, such a beautiful woman had a disdainful look on her face and said such harsh words. She shook her head slightly. It was really a waste of her good looks. She ignored the woman, but the person next to her did not intend to let her go. Miss Yang, don't you know? Those frogs at the bottom of the well will always say some nonsense. If you want to build a spatial ship, it will not be possible. But these words are not completely useless. Another woman said. Oh. Yao Yao, what's the use of these big words? Isn't it just to make us laugh? Li Yao smiled and said, we usually don't hear such words. If it weren't for her, how could we have today's blessing? Li Yao covered her mouth and laughed. Her delicate appearance was as if she had really heard something funny. Humph, the beautiful woman, Yang Shi, snorted coldly, echoing their words. Sima Yuyue looked at Yang Shi, but her gaze did not fall on her, but passed over her and fell on Lang Zhong behind her. Her eyes were infatuated. Sima Yuyue turned her head and looked at Lang Zhong. She finally understood why this unexpected humiliation happened. Do you know her? She asked. I don't know her. Lang Zhong simply shook his head. He had indeed seen a lot of these women, but he really didn't know who this person was. When Yang Shi heard this, her face instantly darkened. She had clearly introduced herself to him solemnly, but he actually had no impression of her at all. It was said that the city lord of Tangerine City was carefree and casual, but he had no interest in women. When she passed by here, she was curious, so she stayed and specially found an excuse to meet him. At that time, he obviously looked at her with interest, but now he actually said that he didn't know her. If he was like this to all women, then she could still figure it out, but she saw him smiling so brightly at a woman when she was on the spaceship, and even said that he would give this woman a spaceship. If an average person said this, they would definitely be laughed at, but Yang Shi knew that he had this ability, because someone in her family had mentioned it a few times before. Although she didn't know his identity, it was definitely not simple. She looked at the woman again, thinking that her appearance was not as good as her figure was not as good as her clothes were not as good as her, and her identity was definitely not as good as her. Such a woman who was not as good as her in any way, Lang Zhong actually smiled at her. She was resentful in her heart, so when she heard Sima Yuyue say that she was going to build a spaceship, she spoke sarcastically. City Lord Lang, why don't you remember us? We just met a few days ago. The woman who spoke first said eagerly. Is that so? Lang Zhong pretended to recall for a while, and then said very seriously, this city lord really doesn't remember the three of you. Where did you come from? Could it be that they're here because of my unparalleled good looks? If that's the case, then I really don't remember, because there are too many women like that. These words were really merciless awe. Sima Yoyue's mouth twitched. Although these words were not said to her, they were said so ruthlessly that she felt a pain in the ass for the three women opposite her. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that they were interested in him. Being ridiculed by their beloved, that kind of feeling, even if one used their toes to think, they would know that these three people must be feeling extremely sour right now. Gentleman's Alliance. Chapter 1436. It seems that you are old acquaintances, then I won't disturb you. After Sima Yuyue finished speaking, she glanced at the number plate in her hand, turned around and walked towards the room, ignoring everyone. Hey, Yuyue, don't go. Wait for me. Lang Zhong didn't even look at Yang Shi and the others as he chased after Sima Yuyue. Humph, who the hell is that person? Go and check it out. Yang Shi's eyes were cold. A woman who could make Lang Zhong look at her in a different light, she wanted to see who she was. Miss Yang, why are you being so serious with that bitch? Just look at her poor appearance and you can tell that she is not a young lady from a big family. Maybe she is someone who came from some remote mountain. Humph. Go and check it out. By the way, find out where City Lord Lang is going. Yang Shi glanced at the woman faintly and didn't want to talk to her anymore. If that was a bitch, then what were they? Even worse than a bitch? What a brainless person. Yao Yao. Fang Qi felt that Yang Shi was angry and looked at Li Yao helplessly. Li Yao also shook her head. This Fang Qi was too careless, she really didn't know what to say. But seeing her friend so sad, she still couldn't bear it and advised, Miss Yang has always been like this, don't worry about it. Isn't your Fang family very good at inquiring about information? Then you should check the identity of this person and the destination of City Lord Lang. Well, I will definitely find out, I won't let Miss Yang down. Fang Qi promised. You also know the purpose of our two families coming out this time. If we can get closer to her, we will achieve our goal, so that we can save our families. Li Yao said. I understand. Fang Qi nodded. Sima Yuyue and Sima Lu Xian came to their respective house numbers. Huang Yingying and Sima Lu Xian were in one room and Mu Si was in another. Because Sima Lu Xian had no spiritual power, he was sandwiched in the middle and Mu Si's room was also in the middle. When Sima Yuyue opened the door, she found that Lang Zhong actually lived on the other side of her. Lang Zhong saw her looking at him and showed her his most charming smile. I didn't expect that we are actually neighbors. Please advise me in the future, he said. Sima Yuyue rolled her eyes at him. She remembered that the rooms were arranged according to the order of arrival. She did not remember that this guy was behind her. Now, he was trying to make it look like a chance encounter. Who would believe him? She ignored him and swiped her card into the card slot on the door. It was similar to how she used to stay in a hotel in her previous life. As mentioned before, although the room looked very small, once the door was opened, the space inside was still very large. It was no different from a normal room, and everything inside was also available. After she went in, she felt that the spiritual power inside was still very rich. It didn't seem so unreal because it was increased by the space. She walked around the room and then went to Sima Lu Xian's room to make sure that he was fine before returning to her own room. As soon as she returned to the house, the ship began to move. She went to the corridor and saw a circle of faint ripples around the hull. The ripples protected the hull so that it would not be squeezed when traveling through space. However, because of this layer of ripples, they couldn't see the scenery outside. Although she couldn't see the outside clearly, she could feel that the ship was rising. Then, there was a strong vibration, but it quickly returned to normal. Once again, they had successfully entered the void. Her interest in the spaceship only lasted for a short period of time. When she was sure that she couldn't see the void inside, she turned around and went back to her room. At the same time, in a room on the 4th floor, Li Yao and Fang Qi sat opposite Yang Shi. Miss Yang, we have investigated clearly. That woman is from the Sima family in 64th State. Fang Qi said. Sima family? Sima Yuyue? City Lord Lang did call her Yuyue before. Fang Qi said. Sima Yuyue, why do I feel that this name is a little familiar? Li Yao frowned. You know her? Fang Qi asked. Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue. Li Yao muttered Sima Yuyue's name. She felt that it was very familiar, but she couldn't remember where she had heard it before. After thinking for a while, she called out, I remember where I've heard it before. Where? Yang Shi and Fang Qi both looked over. When I heard my father say that Glacial Cloud Palace was destroyed, I heard him mention that it was entirely because some Paramount Valley released the news of Sky Splitter, which made them targeted by others. Li Yao replied. Paramount Valley? What kind of force is that? I heard that it's a newly established force in the middle regions. Li Yao said, I remember my father mentioning that Paramount Valley has a deputy valley lord called Sima Yuyue. Pfft, it's actually someone who came in from the outside. No wonder she looks so poor. Fang Qi sneered. The disdain in Yang Shi's eyes became even more obvious. She wasn't even from the inner regions, yet she dared to covet City Lord Lang. How much else do you know about her? She asked Li Yao. Li Yao shook her head and said, I only heard about it from my father at the time, and quickly turned to other topics. I didn't say much about this person. It's a pity that we are now on the spaceship and can't find out about this person. When we get off the ship, I will check on this Sima Yuyue. Feng Qi said. Forget it, it's just a deputy valley lord of a new force in the outer regions. It's not worth our time to understand. Yang Shi said lightly, there's nothing to understand about a person who is about to die. Both Feng Qi and Li Yao were shocked in their hearts, and they looked at Yang Shi with a little surprise. They knew that Yang Shi went to see Lang Zhong in the beginning just because of curiosity. However, they didn't expect that she actually fell in love with him from the moment she saw him. And he didn't even want to look her in the eye. That was why she was so angry when she saw Lang Zhong smiling at Sima Yuyue. Since she wasn't a young lady from a big family, she made her unhappy and attracted Lang Zhong's attention. For such a woman, Yang Shi, would never be merciful. If you make me unhappy, I will make you lose your life. Sima Yuyue, who was reading in Sima Lu Xian's room, sneezed. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Sima Lu Xian was also reading a book. When he heard her sneeze, he raised his head and asked. It wasn't that no one had ever had problems with the spaceship before. It was Sima Yuyue's first time on it, so he was a little worried. Sima Yuyue rubbed her nose and said with a smile, it's okay, someone must be missing me. Sima Lu Xian smiled, shifted his gaze to the book she was reading, and said, are you reading a book on refining? Chapter 1437. Sima Yuyue looked at the book in her hand. It was the handwritten letter that she had obtained from the Spirit Pagoda. Yes, I got it from the Spirit Pagoda. Sima Yuyue told him about the mechas. After Sima Lu Xian heard it, even he, who had always been calm, was a little stunned. The seven-layered pagoda is a very powerful divine artifact from ancient times. I didn't expect that even without its artifact spirit, it would still have such a powerful function after fusing with it. He couldn't help but sigh. It's all thanks to the soul stone my father gave me. Sima Yuyue said, oh right, speaking of that, she took out the map from back then and said, Father, where is this map from? Ling Yu and I studied it, but we couldn't figure out where we were. Sima Lu Xian looked at the map with a trace of sadness and nostalgia in his eyes. This is an ancient tomb that your mother and I once entered. Because of this map, I got the spirit stone in that ancient tomb. Sima Lu Xian said. What he didn't say was that he and Yukuluo had crossed that obstacle in that ancient tomb and went to the Wushan Mountains together, resulting in the birth of Yuyue, the fruit of their love. Father, since you have already entered, why did you leave this for me? Sima Yuyue asked. Although that ancient tomb isn't very big, there are many places that we haven't entered. You know, generally, this kind of place has inheritances and the like. I was also thinking that if you could go there one day, you might have your own opportunities. Sima Lu Xian said with a smile. Sima Yuyue looked at the way he looked at her. It was thick and full of fatherly love, which warmed her heart. She reached out and hugged his arm. She leaned her head on his arm and couldn't help but smile. Thank you, father. You're so good to me. Sima Yuyue said. Silly child, you're our only child. If we don't treat you well, who should we treat well? Sima Lu Xian patted her hand. He was obviously still at an age where he was full of vigor, but because of his past experiences, he seemed to have gone through a lot. By the way, Dad, since you know about this place, when should we go again? Sima Yuyue looked up at him. No. Sima Lu Xian rejected her without thinking. Why? You're not strong enough now. Sima Lu Xian explained, when I went in with your mother, it was a narrow escape. Although your external strength isn't weak, it isn't your own strength. In the ancient tomb, both the bird tribe and Paramount Valley are powerless. Alright, Sima Yuyue did not insist, if that's the case, we'll talk about it after I've become stronger. When father's injury is healed, you can go with me. We can also have a companion. Alright. Sima Lu Xian had a faint smile on his face, but this smile didn't reach his eyes. He didn't want to disappoint his daughter, so he would do whatever she said. However, in his heart, he did not believe that he could be cured. Even if he could only be a cripple for the rest of his life, he would not complain. He was originally a dying man. To be able to reunite with his daughter, to have another chance to hug her, and to watch her grow, he was already very satisfied. Kuluo, will there be a day when you and I can be reunited and watch our daughter together? Sima Yue felt that Sima Lu Xian's mood was a little low and could guess what she was thinking. However, she didn't say anything. He wouldn't really believe that she could cure him before she achieved actual results. Father, I have a book that you'll definitely be interested in. Sima Yue let go of him and said with a smile. Oh. You're so sure. How could he not know such an obvious change of topic, but he was willing to go along with her words. Sima Yue took out the book Soul Seeking the Source and placed it in front of Sima Lu Xian. This book, when Sima Lu Xian saw the book, he was so excited that even his hands were trembling. That's right, this is the book that the soul-seeking masters are scrambling for. Sima Yue said, I think that father should read this book instead of these books. How did you get this book? I found it in the Spirit Pagoda. Sima Yue said, the owner of this book has changed one after another, with all kinds of professions. This is really a great opportunity. Sima Lu Xian was very glad that he left this to her, allowing his daughter to grow up so well. However, he was a little worried. From what he knew, her luck was too good, so good that it left others in the dust. Although she had paid a price, compared to what she had gained, the price she paid was too little. Moreover, her luck continued to rise, allowing her to encounter more opportunities. Otherwise, why didn't anyone notice anything strange when everyone else was walking around the winter plains? She had only gone to save someone, yet she had discovered so many mineral veins. If she really had to bear anything in the future, let him bear it for her as her father. Sima Yue found that the ecstasy in Sima Lu Xian's eyes only lasted for a while, then his gaze became deep and worried. Worried? Was he worried that others would find out about this book and bring trouble to her? Father, don't worry, other than Third Mo, no one knows about this. As for Third Mo, he won't tell anyone. Sima Yue said. I believe in your judgment. If you say he won't, then there shouldn't be a problem. Sima Lu Xian saw that she misunderstood his meaning, but he didn't explain. Some things were not good for her to know. Sima Yue smiled at him and said, Father, let's read. Grandpa and the others said that we have to sit for 4 to 5 days. Okay. Sima Lu Xian put away his thoughts and turned his attention to the book. Searching for the origin, this was the book that he had dreamed of. Now that it was in front of him, he couldn't suppress the excitement in his heart. They read for most of the day in the room. After feeling a little tired, Sima Yue took him out for a walk outside, to relax, and to the restaurant on the second floor to get something to eat. The restaurant was very big, and there wasn't much variety of food, but the quality was very good and exquisite. It was very similar to the cafeteria in her previous life, with rows of food placed together. If you want something, you can just get it yourself. Father, you sit here, I'll get you something to eat. Sima Yue said to Sima Lu Xian. Okay. Father, I want a seat by the window. Okay. In her father's place, everything was good. Sima Yue went around and chose some for herself and some for Sima Lu Xian. After choosing, she walked back with the plate and saw Lang Zhong sitting next to Sima Lu Xian, and Yang Shi sitting at the table next to him. Chapter 1438. Seeing Lang Zhong smiling so flirtatiously, Sima Yue's face suddenly turned black. What an all-pervasive fellow. In particular, he had brought 3 women with him. The way they looked at him was as if there were needles in their eyes, as if they wanted to poke holes in his body. Sima Yue walked over and placed the things on the table. Father, let's sit here. Sima Lu Xian smiled and nodded apologetically at him. Then, he got up and walked over to Sima Yue. Dad, this looks pretty good, so I got a little more for you. Sima Yue said. All right. Father, this spirit fruit looks like a high-grade spirit fruit. It's not bad to eat some after dinner. All right. Father, let's go to the deck for a while after eating. All right. Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian chatted as they ate. They didn't pay attention to the people who were looking at them. However, the people at the side did not have the self-awareness of being quiet and insisted on butting in. To the deck? I'm going to the deck as well. Let's go together. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him and ignored him. Lang Zhong walked over automatically and leaned over to Sima Yue and said, I know where you can see the scenery outside. Sima Yue turned her head and asked, Really? Of course, why would I lie to you? Lang Zhong laughed. All right, let's go together. Sima Yue agreed. Yang Shi and the other two, who were eating a few spirit fruits, heard the commotion and gave Li Yao a look. Li Yao understood. After eating 2 spirit fruits, she got up and sat down at Sima Yue's table. Hello, are you Yue? I'm really sorry. We shouldn't have laughed at you on the deck. Li Yao looked at her apologetically. You'll forgive us, right? Sima Yue looked at her. Even though Sima Yue tried her best to look sincere, Sima Yue still caught the disdain in her eyes. However, this was her first time in the inner region, so she didn't have much contact with the people here. She didn't want to fall out with them because of this. It's not a big deal. She replied faintly without much enthusiasm. So you're saying that you've forgiven us? Li Yao said with a smile. My name is Li Yao. I'm here to look for the Li family of the 50 states. What about you? I heard City Lord Lang call you Yue. Sima Yue. Sima Yue gave a simple reply. She did not elaborate on her background. Li Yao sneered in her heart. It was indeed embarrassing to talk about 64 prefectures in front of her. However, even if you don't say it, I know your background. Why are you still pretending in front of us? So you are the young lady of the Sima family. Li Yao said, this is the first young lady of the Yang family of the 16th state, Yang Shi. There is also the young lady of the Fang family of the same state as me, Fang Qi. Sima Yue looked at them. They were all smiling at her. She also casually responded to them. Yang Shi walked over and sat at the same table with them. She smiled and said, Miss Sima, it's fate that we are all on the same spatial ship. That's right. Sima Yue said meaningfully. May I know where Miss Sima is going? Yang Shi asked. 64 prefectures, 64 prefectures? What a coincidence, so are we. Looks like we have to get off at the same place. Yang Shi said. Oh. Aren't you from the 16th state? There's a convention in the 64 prefectures. We received an invitation, so we have to go there before returning. Yang Shi said. Oh. Sima Yue's reaction was very calm. She was not as curious as she had expected. She did not know how to continue the conversation. Fortunately, Li Yao, who was at the side, helped her out. Miss Sima, you're from the 64 prefectures. You should know about this convention, right? I heard that it's a competition for female alchemists. Li Yao said. Female alchemy competition? There was even an alchemy competition specially prepared for women? She was a little surprised. She had never heard of this before. What, you don't know? The surprise on Li Yao's face this time was real. A person whose family was in the 64 prefectures actually did not know about this competition. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I haven't been back for many years. This time, I haven't gone back yet. Why is there a female alchemy competition? Actually, it's not. Yang Shi said. It's not. Yes. But didn't you guys just say that it's a female alchemy competition? Sima Yue was confused by them. This is just a part of this convention. Li Yao said, this convention is actually a female gathering. It's just that during the gathering, there will be alchemy and weapon refining competitions. Oh. It said that in the past, it was for everyone to spar during the gathering. But now, it has become a competition between women. It has completely deviated from the original intention. Li Yao explained. So that's how it is. Sima Yue understood. I don't know, Miss Sima, what do you know? Fang Qi asked. A little bit of everything. Sima Yue said. It seems that Miss Sima is really involved in a wide range of things. Li Yao praised, but in her heart, she was saying the opposite. A little bit of everything? The three of them all laughed in their hearts, thinking that she was just talking big, just like when she said that she wanted to build a spaceship by herself. So, it seems that Miss Sima is going to participate in this competition? It depends on the situation. Sima Yue didn't say anything. If it was interesting, she could go and take a look. Yue, regardless of whether you go to the competition or not, I will follow you. Lang Zhong said, in short, wherever you go, I will go. Sima Yue saw the expressions of Yang Shi and the other two suddenly change, as if the disguise was about to break. The words of refusal that were about to come out of her mouth were swallowed back. Okay, whatever you want. As long as you don't disturb my life. During their conversation, Sima Lu Xian finished eating the food that Sima Yue brought for him, and Lang Zhong immediately invited them to visit the scenery outside. City Lord Lang, we are also curious about what it looks like outside. Can you take us with you? Yang Shi looked at him with her big eyes. That affectionate look, Sima Yue could describe it as a beautiful smile and beautiful eyes. Such a woman really has the aptitude to be a disaster. However, Lang Zhong was not shocked by the electric waves she sent out at all, and directly refused. That place is too small to accommodate so many people. Yue, Uncle Sima, let's go. Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian both twitched the corners of their mouths. Uncle Sima? Sima Lu Xian was not necessarily older than him, right? According to Sima Yue's guess, he should be a middle-aged monster. Uncle Sima, how could he call him that? Chapter 1439. Lang Zhong took them away, leaving Yang Shi and the other two with resentful faces. If looks could kill, Sima Yue would have died thousands of times. Miss Yang, didn't you say that those kinds of competitions are too boring and that you don't want to go and just go back? Why are you suddenly going again? Fang Qi asked, puzzled. That kind of competition is boring to begin with, and I didn't plan to participate. It's just a reason to get off the boat with them. Yang Shi snorted coldly. Fang Qi, just think about it. The spaceship doesn't allow the use of spiritual power, so we naturally can't fight here. Since Sima Yue wants to go down to the 64th state, we naturally have to go down as well. Li Yao said. I see. Fang Qi finally understood. Li Yao indifferently glanced at Yang Shi's tightly clenched fist, and the corners of her mouth curled into a faint mocking smile. Previously, they heard that City Lord Lang had followed Sima Yue and the rest up here. He even said that he would follow her wherever she went. Since Yang Shi came up, her eyes had never left Lang Zhong. When she heard the news, she naturally had to follow. Of course, she would not say this out loud. Otherwise, the person Yang Shi would be angry with would be her. Yang Shi's face was dark, and her fingernails dug deep into her palms. Where is she? Where are you? What if she doesn't exist in this world? Sima Yue naturally felt the murderous gaze behind her, but she was not worried. On the spatial ship, no one dared to use spiritual energy. She and her father followed Lang Zhong to the deck, but Lang Zhong did not stop. Instead, he took them to the 4th floor and came to the first room. Is this the place? Sima Yue asked. That's right. You'll be able to see it once you enter. Lang Zhong said, this is the room card that I got through my connections. It cost me a lot of money. Sima Yuyue did not feel anything when he was asking for credit, so she did not praise him. Instead, she urged him, if that's the case, open the door quickly. Lang Zhong was not annoyed. He took out a special room card, swiped it, and the door opened. Go in. Sima Yuyue held Sima Luxian's hand. If there was anything inside, she would be able to react quickly. However, the moment she entered the room, she was completely stunned. At this moment, she seemed to be standing in the void. Many planets flashed before her eyes, and some of them were even shining. And she was the ruler who stood at the peak of the world, overlooking the vast starry sky. She was so engrossed that she didn't notice that her body was emitting a soft light, making her look as if she had become one with the vast starry sky. Lang Zhong and Sima Luxian looked at her, but neither of them made a sound. She could actually have some insights here. After a while, the soft light on Sima Yuyue's body dissipated and turned into specks of light. They danced around her and reflected the starlight from afar. This is amazing. Sima Luxian and Lang Zhong had never seen such a feeling before, and they couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. Sure enough, she is a person with great luck. Lang Zhong looked at Sima Yuyue with a deep gaze. Those lights circled around Sima Yuyue for a while, and then all entered her body. When all the light disappeared, she opened her eyes and woke up. Lang Zhong and Sima Luxian found that Sima Yuyue's aura had become softer and more agile. I didn't expect you to be able to comprehend it here. Congratulations. For the first time, Lang Zhong felt that in addition to making himself feel comfortable, she also had the talent to make people look at her seriously. Sima Yuyue had just been enlightened and was in a good mood. She looked at Lang Zhong with gratitude and her smile was more sincere. Thank you, if you hadn't brought us here, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it. She thanked him. This is also your own talent. Lang Zhong did not take credit, many people have entered this room, but you are the first one to comprehend it here. Sima Yuyue smiled, it seems that my luck is really good. This was not a matter of luck. Lang Zhong said, but no one continued to talk about this. If they continued, it would seem flattering. Sima Yuyue looked at the starry sky outside, and asked curiously, how can we see the scenery outside from here? I don't feel dizzy at all. Because of this. Lang Zhong pointed to a stone platform in the room. This? Sima Yuyue and Sima Luxian looked at it. The stone platform was ugly and even looked a little rough, with many grooves on it. Was this the thing that allowed them to see the scenery outside? This came out of an ancient mining area. It can change the magnetic field around us and make those lights slow down here. So you won't feel dizzy looking at it. Lang Zhong explained, but because of this, what we see is not the whole outside. Sima Yuyue and Sima Luxian both nodded. The outside was fast and the inside was slow, so naturally it couldn't be shown. What a treasure. If I build a spaceship in the future, I really want to dig this back. The corner of Lang Zhong's mouth twitched. She was still thinking about building a spaceship. Although he didn't laugh at her, he still didn't believe her from the bottom of his heart. However, since she was the person he liked, he didn't mind listening to her words. But he didn't expect her to still be thinking about this. She still wanted to dig this away. Does she know the value of this thing? Before he asked, he heard Sima Yuyue murmur, however, the value of this thing must be very high. I don't know if the other party is willing to part with it. If it doesn't work, do you want to snatch it? Ahem. Lang Zhong was taken aback by her words and said, do you know who owns this ship? Whose? 49 states. Lang Zhong only said the number of states, and everyone knew what this meant. It turns out to be from the 49 states. I heard from Grandpa that it's very powerful. Sima Yuyue touched her chin, in that case, let's talk about it when the time comes. The corner of Lang Zhong's mouth twitched. Talk about it when the time comes? Are you really going to snatch it when the time comes? If she really wants to come, what will I do? Dad, there are other people living in those places, right? Sima Yue looked at the planet outside and said. Yes, those places are called extraterrestrials by us. Sima Lu Xian said, but no one has been to those places. No one has been there. Those places are far, far away from us. Lang Zhong said. So far that without special means, they can't get close at all. Are the people we met in Immortal Land the people from those places? Sima Yue asked. Sima Lu Xian had heard her say it before, so he knew what she was talking about. I think so. It's just that I don't know where exactly, he said. Sima Yue looked at the bright lights outside and guessed that those places should be similar to them, and not the place that controls the heavenly Tao. Emperor Qing Dao. Reading background default settings: classic light blue, classic light gray, classic green, classic bright yellow, dark blue, ocean, autumn, abundant green, elegant red, powder, aristocratic, family, red, talk, thick, sea, wide, sky, heartbroken, past, snow, white, world, gray, world, font color default settings: white, red, green, blue, brown, font size default settings: small, medium, large, speed 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0, mouse scroll description: 1 to 10, 1 is the slowest, 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1440. Emperor Qing Dao. While she was comprehending, she saw him. She saw the divine sense that had met her in the heavenly tower. He had clearly dissipated right in front of her eyes. Part of him had entered heaven's halberd, and the other part had entered her body. After that divine sense entered her body, she did not feel anything and was not affected at all. So much so that she almost forgot about him. However, just now, she saw him appear again. He slowly took form and smiled at her, telling her that she still had things to do and that he was still waiting for her. She knew that she still had things to do. She hadn't forgotten the conversation in the heavenly tower. However, there was nothing he could do about that matter. However, he said that he was waiting for her. Where was he waiting for her? Why wait for her? She didn't think that it was a hallucination. She had never thought of him before, and it had been so many years. It was impossible for her to hallucinate and see him when she came here. She believed that this was an instruction from him to her. When Emperor Qing Dao's figure disappeared again, she had her own comprehension. Therefore, this comprehension should be helped by him. Emperor Qing Dao. She repeated this name in her heart again and decided that when she had the chance in the future, she would definitely find out more about him. After staying in the house for half a day, Sima Yue was tired of looking at the scenery outside. Planets were constantly flashing in front of his eyes, and after looking at them for a long time, it was no longer fresh. When they were in the house, Lang Zhong asked her if she was really going to participate in any competitions. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I'm not interested in those. I want to go home. Go home and find a way to cure your father. By the way, those people are coming for you. So, if you want to follow us, don't create trouble for me. Sima Yue turned around and warned. Lang Zhong looked at her. Her expression was very serious and he knew that she was not joking. But when did he cause her any trouble? However, when he saw Sima Yue's gaze, he nodded. Since you promised, you have to do it. Otherwise, she didn't say what she would do, but she believed that everyone was well aware. Poor guy with a high IQ but a low EQ. He really didn't think of what she had said after that. What was she thinking? Wasn't a threat a piece of cake in front of him? Thus, he nodded confidently. He would just follow her and not cause any trouble. Yes, even if there was trouble, they would avoid him as soon as they saw him. Little did they know that he was the moving troublemaker. Sima Yue first sent Sima Lu Xian back to his room, then she prepared to go back to her own room to think about what happened today. Do you really plan to let that person follow us? Sima Lu Xian asked. Sima Yue nodded and said, I have seriously thought about this issue. Lang Zhong's identity is definitely not as simple as the city lord of Tangerine City. We just came back. Grandpa and the others don't have much power at home. If there's anything, it should be fine to ask him for help. Since he is willing to follow us, we have nothing to lose. But there's still trouble. Sima Lu Xian said. With his sharp senses, how could he not sense the killing intent of Yang Shi and the others? As long as Lang Zhong was by her side, there would be countless Yang Shi. Sima Yue smiled. If you gain something, you have to give something up. It's just a little trouble, it's nothing. But, I don't want you to be so tired. That's why I told him not to cause trouble himself. Sima Yue said, well, Dad, don't worry, I don't care about that trouble. You read well, I'll go back and consolidate today's enlightenment. Sima Lu Xian liked her being so domineering, but he was distressed that she started to plan so early. Although they would have the protection of the family when they go back, they didn't know what they would face when they went back. The Sima family didn't just welcome them back. There was also the person who poisoned Yukoluo. They haven't found out yet. If they found out, what if the Sima family was unwilling to use them? You know, the people she gave to Xian Yuan Pavilion, the news from Xian Yuan Pavilion was more powerful than the Sima family. Sima Yue returned to her room and thought for a while. She didn't go back to that place, so she didn't have any clues, so she simply didn't think about it. She set up another enchantment in the room before entering meditation. Sima Yue's meditation this time was different from the previous short enlightenment. In the next few days, she didn't take a step out of her room, so those who wanted to get close to her couldn't get close to her. If they couldn't get close to her, they couldn't get more information. When Yang Shi heard this from Li Yao, she just sneered. Could it be that she's afraid, so she's hiding? Feng Qi said. She can hide for a while, but she can't hide forever. Yang Shi said, now she's hiding in her room and won't come out. When she gets off the ship, she will come out. By the way, when we were inquiring about the news, we learned another news. Feng Qi said. What? I heard that the person from the 15th state and the person from the 49th state are both on this ship. Feng Qi said. Although she didn't say it explicitly, Yang Shi and Li Yao still knew who the two people she was talking about were. They're willing to go out too. Yang Shi's eyes flashed with anger. It was obvious that she wasn't in a good mood when she talked about those two people. I heard that they're also going to the 64th state. Feng Qi added. They're also going to the 64th state. It seems that they're going for the conference this time. However, with their personalities, they haven't been very interested in this in the past. Why are they participating this time? Li Yao said with some surprise. Naturally, something that interests them has appeared. Yang Shi said, I'm a little curious about something that can interest them. Perhaps, we can also go and take a look at this conference. Maybe there will be some unexpected surprises. So, you're planning to participate? Li Yao asked. Although she had decided to get off the ship at the 64th state, Yang Shi didn't plan to participate in the conference. However, when she heard that the two of them were going, she immediately changed her mind. It could be seen that Sima Yue couldn't enter her eyes at all. She had always set her sights on those people. Sima Yue estimated that she was about to get off the ship, so she woke up from her meditation. She opened the door and went out, and saw Lang Zhong talking to a woman in black with a cold temperament. When the woman saw Sima Yue coming out, she specially glanced at her. That gaze was unabashedly sizing her up. Is that her? The woman asked. Yes. Lang Zhong responded. Although his expression was still indifferent, Sima Yue could see that he was less perfunctory than when facing other women. Who is this woman? Chapter 1441. The woman in black saw Sima Yue looking at her and nodded. She didn't say anything and turned to leave. She walked to the end of the corridor and went up to the 4th floor. It was said that the people who lived on the 4th floor were not ordinary people. Yue, you finally came out. Lang Zhong came over and greeted her, but he didn't mean to mention the woman just now. Sima Yue did not intend to let her off after being scrutinized like that. Because her gaze made her feel uncomfortable, as if she was being picked on. Who is that? A friend I know. Lang Zhong said, He knows that I left Tangerine City because of you, so he is a little curious about you. Curious? She didn't think so, or rather, it wasn't just that. This was the only reasonable explanation he could give. He still didn't intend to reveal that person's identity. However, even if he didn't say anything, would she not know? He was not the only one who knew her. How long until we reach the 64th state? She asked. We are now at the boundary of 64. Lang Zhong said, wait for half a day and we will be there. Every state had several places to dock their ships. They chose the first place after entering the 64th state. Half a day later, all the people who were going to get off the ship were on the deck. They only had to wait for the spaceship to stop and then get off the ship in order. The maidservant that they had seen on the ship before appeared again. She took back the key cards in everyone's hands and then came to the front of the deck. The people on the deck couldn't see outside, but they could feel the vibrations. Then, the barrier covering the outside dispersed, and they finally saw the scenery outside. The people on the deck got off the ship in order. Lang Zhong naturally followed Sima Yue. Yang Shi, who was behind, looked at this scene and gritted her teeth in hatred. Suddenly, she felt two pairs of eyes on her. She looked up and saw a woman in black and a woman in a pink dress on the 4th floor. The woman in black was the one Sima Yue saw in the morning. She looked at Yang Shi with a cold gaze. The woman in the pink dress looked like she was smiling. When she saw Yang Shi turn around, she nodded at her as a greeting. They're coming over. Li Yao recognized the two women and said. So what if he's here? Yang Shi turned around and sneered. We'll know the news after we get off the ship. She then turned her attention to Sima Yue. This was the person she wanted to deal with. Seeing Lang Zhong smiling at Sima Yue, her heart burned with anger. That be *tch. Sima Yue could feel someone staring at her from behind, but she did not care. She knew who it was even if she used her toes to think. They got off the boat. Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying looked at the familiar scenery and were a little excited. I'm finally back. Sima Lu Xian's expression didn't change much, but Sima Yue could see that he was suppressing his expression. Father, we'll be able to go back soon. She comforted him. It's been decades. I wonder what has become of this place. A few decades is just a drop in the ocean compared to the long history. How big of a change can there be? Sima Yue smiled. It has changed, but it hasn't. Well, I haven't been back for a long time. I'm a little homesick. Sima Lu Xian smiled. Master, is this the place where you were born? Mu Si asked. No, I wasn't born here, but I did stay here. Sima Yue said. Let's go, we're going back. Huang Yingying said. Okay. Miss Sima. Yang Shi and the others chased from behind. It seems that we really got off the boat together. Yes. We're going home, so we'll take our leave first. Sima Yue nodded to her and turned to leave. However, the other party obviously didn't intend to let them go like this. Miss Sima, are you going back to the Sima family? Li Yao asked. Yes. That's a coincidence. We're also going to Yi Prefecture. It seems that we can go together. Li Yao said happily. What are you going to Yi Prefecture for? Didn't we say before that we're going to attend the convention? The venue this time happens to be in Yi Prefecture. Yang Shi said. Oh, but, it's fate that we met, and we're going in the same direction. We're not familiar with 64, so you don't mind bringing us along, right? Li Yao's voice was a little high, causing the people around to look over. If it was an ordinary person, it would definitely be difficult to refuse after hearing others say this. Moreover, their family's strength was higher than the Sima family's. They were willing to go with her because they thought highly of her. However, Sima Yue wasn't an ordinary person. She didn't want to go with someone who obviously wanted to kill her. It's fate that we're together, but I've been shy since I was young, so I'm sorry. Grandfather, grandmother, father, let's go. After she finished speaking, she didn't give the other party a chance to speak and turned to leave. See. Li Yao and the others didn't expect Sima Yue to reject them directly and were stunned. This slut. Fang Qi cursed hatefully. Although Yang Shi didn't curse directly, her clenched fists and angry gaze still showed her current mood. Oh, this is strange, there are actually people who don't buy your words. It seems that the charm of Miss Yang is not invincible. The girl in the pink dress came up from behind with a smile. Yi Qiuyu, if you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Only Yang Shi could talk to Yi Qiuyu like this. Li Yao and Fang Qi didn't have the courage to challenge the Yi clan of the 15th state. Oh, this is a big road, can't people speak? Yi Qiuyu said with a smile, Yin Susu, don't you think so? The woman in black who was talking to Lang Zhong glanced at the two of them and didn't speak, but she didn't leave either. Obviously, the three of them knew each other. When did the two of you fall to participate in this kind of competition? Yang Shi asked. Naturally, there are things that we like. Yi Qiuyu said, however, I think, with your vision, you definitely don't like that thing, right, Yin Susu? Let's go. Yin Susu urged. Ha ha ha, let's go, we agreed to be companions. Yi Qiuyu said. She and Yin Susu left with the guards, not putting Yang Shi in their eyes at all. Guards. Yang Shi called. Mississippi, go and find out the reason why these two people went. Yes, Mississippi, Miss Yang, what should we do now? Go to Yi County. Something that could make those two women excited was definitely not an ordinary thing. Don't think that by saying this, she would not explore it. As long as it was something that those two women wanted, she would snatch it away. Besides, he followed Sima Yue to Yi County. Maybe, he would go to watch the competition. If he saw that she won the competition, would he look at her in a different light? You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.